Welcome into this MPW Digital watch party. I am Chase Parham. I'm trying to get one Tyler Sitzke up in the screen. There's my boy Tyler. He's in the screen as we get ready for Ole Miss and North Carolina, the 6th-seeded Rebels and the 11th-seeded Tar Heels here minutes away. Brian is trying to jump on. I think he's sending the stream to Bracken as well. Hopefully we'll have him. So we're just going to hang out. We're going to watch some basketball. Ole Miss in their first NCAA tournament game since losing to Oklahoma in 2019. It was Kermit Davis's first year for the program there, and Ole Miss trying to get to the second weekend for the first time since, or sorry, second weekend for the second time. That would be 2001, but second game after winning one, first time since beating Wisconsin in Marshall Henderson's year in the NCAA tournament when they lost to LaSalle. The winner will face Iowa State. They dispatched pretty comfortably of the Lipscomb Bisons here a bit ago. It's been a rough one for the SEC as far as some downstream teams. Georgia out, State out at this point. State losing a very close one to Baylor, got a shot off, and it not falling there at the end. And then Georgia getting run out of the building by Mark Few and Gonzaga yesterday. Arkansas did knock off the Kansas Jayhawks. It was Bill Self and Kansas's laughing at Robert in the stream. Bill Self in Kansas losing for the first time since 2006 in the first round. So that's where we kind of are with the SEC. Alabama played with Robert Morris for a very long time before winning that one. Today, Tennessee, A&M easily, Auburn easily, and we are now at the Rebels. North Carolina getting into this game, knocking off San Diego State. 95-68 in the play-in. It was North Carolina's best game of the season. They were very, very good. They shot the lights out. San Diego State could not stay in front of them. It will be a taller task for North Carolina today, but also a challenge for Ole Miss as well. Tyler, I guess we'll get you in here. Did you catch much of UNC in during the regular season? They're 1-12 against Quad One, and while they have their flaws, it's a pretty good matchup from the standpoint of no big man that's going to just kill you like a Florida or somebody. And then also, they're not great at offensive rebounding. But at the same time, it is North Carolina. They recruited well. It's a lot of highly ranked prospects. And it's not the best challenge for Ole Miss today in this one.
Yeah, they got hot down the stretch. Watched them a good bit. They got hot down the stretch. Really, I think their only two losses for a while was to Duke both times. One with Cooper Flagg, once without him. They play, when their guards play well, they play well. They can get hot from the perimeter, which is what happened the other night. They're playing with confidence because they went through I want to say I don't know. I think you got Kim Pom pulled up or you had it. I think they won like 6 in a row prior to losing to Duke to close the season, 6 or 7 in a row. Then they lost
1,
to Duke
2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Syracuse, NC State, Virginia, Florida State, Miami, and Virginia Tech. Those were Ken Pom 117, 127, 107, 91, 194, 164.
Yeah, they were playing is like, I guess the schedule lined up for them to get a little confidence, And look, they're talented. They're very good. Vegas has them favored in this game. I don't know what it is now. You can
1.5
per sources. You can get the Rebels at 107 on the money line.
Okay.
Or it was. I don't know what it is now. It was about 2 hours ago. Look, I don't know. I'm interested because, if you watch, what happened. I can't get what happened to Louisville out of my head the other day. I can't get out of my head what happened to Clemson yesterday. Clemson scored 13 points in the first half. They just looked completely outmatched. Is it an ACC thing? When you start looking at competition, things like that. But if you just look at the eyeball test, I think North Carolina is playing the second best of an ACC team behind Duke, obviously. Duke's in a whole different stratosphere. I'll be interested to see how Ole Miss closes out on the perimeter game with the guards at North Carolina in this game. So that's kind of where I'm going to be looking.
Yeah, you make a good point. It's not like the ACC has been gangbusters here in the early going of this event. So there's nothing to say that league is underrated and something else is going to happen by any stretch of the imagination. We're about to get to introductions here. Kevin Carlin on the call today. Is that correct, Siski? Is that right?
Boss, I have no idea.
Okay, you're not in on that kind of stuff. That's not your thing.
Are those the glasses, by the way?
Yeah, it's the glasses.
That's what I was going to ask. Those the specs?
Look. You can't make fun of somebody who admits off the top that that he looks like a douchebag. Like I get it. Like if you say that off the top, it like how can you fuss at that point? But here's the thing, and I think
That's
my
not
boy.
the right word. I've never met a douche in glasses. It's a different
Okay,
term. Sophisticated.
okay, is that what it is?
I got
Are those
questions.
prescription or
I
they
think
just like clear?
somebody called me an MSNBC anchor a little while ago. I got that one. You know,
Are those blue light too?
yeah, I think they do that. I mean, they're regular lenses, they're transition, and then they will go into sunglasses as well. But they got like the computer and everything on them. Like they record video, pictures. I mean, that's what I was telling you. My boy Robert in the stream, he texted me yesterday and he said, "Hey, just letting you know, the audio has been much better the last 2 or 3 days with those glasses instead of whatever else you were using." Now, he's a podcaster, so I'm going to say that he was telling me the truth on a technical level and not just going, "Hey, I want my friend to look like an idiot and keep wearing the glasses." I'm going to tell him they're awesome and they make the audio sound incredible at the same time. So
Yeah.
Those turn into shades?
they do.
Okay.
Yeah.
You
I'm
have a
trying
cell
not to look
phone
like
clip?
Jeffrey Vitter, okay?
Yeah, I missed that one. I didn't. I missed the
You were
whole bitter look that you're referring to.
Ole Miss is in their home whites. North Carolina wearing the powder. So yeah, Rebels didn't do the thing where they put powder blue on, force Carolina into the white. Here, getting started in this one. Look, we're probably going to be all over the place from streams and delays and things. So it just kind of is what it is. Look, we're just trying to hang out. So,
Oh, a golden opportunity to go red right here.
it would have looked much better, wouldn't it?
Yeah, that would have been fresh.
What's
Powder
the
blue on light blue would have been a tough viewing experience for yours truly over here.
if Ole Miss wins this game? What's the turnovers for the Rebels? How few turnovers do they need?
You talking about on offense or how many they
Yeah,
get on defense?
offense. Don't throw it over there to them. Don't kick it around.
I think
Well,
they've been pretty good under 10 for a game. I wonder what their record is when they turn it over under 10 times.
Okay. Forced a contested 3 on North Carolina's possession there. That was not the case against San Diego State. It felt like every time North Carolina got a shot off, it was wide the hell open.
All right, what's the clock say on yours? Because I think I'm way ahead of you.
18:34.
I am as well. It's the first time I've ever been ahead. 18:08 currently.
Yeah, y'all are about a possession ahead of me. I'll try to quicken it up here in a second. I mean, we're going to kind of just talk some general long-range game flow because it's going to be impossible to go possession by possession. Ole Miss scores the first 5 of the game before Carolina gets the bunny there right after that. What time did you take off today, Rippy?
If my boss is listening, 15 minutes ago. If he's not, 11. I'm not sure if he listens. I don't think so, but I acquitted myself okay.
What did y'all used to do back in like the building and stuff this time of year, Siski? I mean, y'all just turn it all over the offices. I mean, like this will be a spring football time. So how were you keeping up with Selection Sunday back in the day?
You didn't. I don't know.
Really, even now in March?
It depends on what I was joking. It depends on what you're in spring football mode, right? So it just depends on what day. The spring's really weird. Obviously, practice day is a practice day. Watching film, the off days, and doing a lot of recruiting work in the office. So it's like you're all football, all recruiting, all football, all recruiting. And then it's just depends on what day you called it on. And then the rules changed with dead periods and all that stuff, so you didn't have to worry about as much in February. But spring was pretty much we kept up with it for sure. But if it was a practice day, you had it on the office. You could have it on the computer or whatever. But I usually did the iPad with the NCAA channel where you could or YouTube TV where you could split it in 4. Used to do that on the computer and project it on the wall during the day, but most of it was football days, and then recruiting the other days. So you were tapped in, but you wasn't like watching.
Rebels up 8-2.
Siski, speaking of that,
Go ahead,
Weldon
Ron.
texted me the other day. and said, wow, they're already in spring ball. And I agreed. It kind of came out of nowhere. But I got back to thinking, was there not a year during the Luke era? I could have totally made this up that like spring started maybe the last day of February. Is it later or earlier? I feel like there was one year when you were working that it came like super early, but I could have, again, just totally made that up.
Brother, I would have no recollection of that.
Fair enough.
Jamin Brakefield with a wide open three to put the Rebels up 11 too early. Ole Miss sometimes gets off to bad starts, but it's been the exact opposite here as they turn North Carolina over. They've affected almost every passing lane. They've had hands up in the face, and then right there, North Carolina completely collapsing in the wrong direction, and Brakefield knocks it down. So you couldn't ask for a better dream start for Ole Miss here into the first time out.
They're getting a lot of clean looks early.
They are,
which hasn't happened in a while.
Memphis down 11 with 45 seconds left. So the Tigers are headed home, says Randall here in the stream. Austin, thanks for Super Chat. Thanks for hanging out as always. He says, chances this is an SEC matchup in 3 years. 3 feels too fast. But, I mean, if you told me where the eventuality is going to land, I would say North Carolina in the SEC.
I'm going to say 0%.
0% for your boy, huh?
Yeah. In 3 years, 0%.
What about 5?
Depends on how long it takes them to get to the break off.
If North Carolina changes leagues, is it going to be the SEC?
Yeah, if they break down, but with the Florida State Clemson with that new deal that they got in place, I think they've locked that thing up for a while, unless there's a break off.
Okay.
That's kind of what I was going to ask. Is that because you think the SEC doesn't need to expand that quickly?
I just think 16 is going to be the magic number for a while with the SEC. With a break off, depends on if obviously it's going to be a Big Ten SEC break off when and if that occurs, and it matters how many teams they want to bring with them or if they want to bring everybody with them. The break off will probably determine that. I think we're with rev share. It depends on how many of these depends on what these lawsuits do with. I mean, they've already started, right? So all these lawsuits for rev share. So, and it's not really rev share, which they are going to get some lawsuits. It's more of the Deloitte NIL lawsuits. How does that fit? Because that's just going to lead to it's just we're just in the middle of a shit show.
Yeah, remember we said that podcast would be outdated in like 2 weeks, and then there's been like 9 changes since.
What's that?
That podcast we did, we were like, this will be outdated in a month, and there's already been 4 changes since you recorded that, talking about the landscape.
Every freaking 2 minutes, man. It's very frustrating on my end, but I was calculating this up probably around Christmas, but just on my real job, my software, I've probably sat in the neighborhood of $23,000 in development on fire in the last 3 years on products that rules changed so much that before they could get developed, what I was working on didn't matter.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's terrible. Just lit it on fire. So, and then I spent the last 8 months. We just released our roster management and portal tool that has been developed to stand the test of time. So we've set it up like a NASCAR neutral race car where we can tinker with it without having to change code.
So you're cooking with gas now.
Gas now, but it's been a path.
I switched over from my Hulu TV. It was just doing the channel with TNT, another 3 for Ole Miss right there, 14-4 early. And I went to the March Madness website and just put it on my big monitor, and it's faster. It's catching up better with better streaming for whatever reason. So I'm getting a better picture and a faster response time with that.
That's what I'm on too. You called that 3 in real time. That clearly appears to be quicker.
Okay. North Carolina answers 14-7.
Yeah, now you're ahead of me.
Really?
Yeah, you went from behind me to ahead.
Okay. Yeah, I think it was Daniel in the stream. He says you have to do the same thing on Sunday if they win. I had already thought about that, and it's a little bit of a problem because I got something on Sunday night that I'll have to move around and kind of get out of. So let's root for an afternoon game if you want an exact copy of what's going on. North Carolina back-to-back threes now and cuts it to 4.
Do we know the time? Well, I mean,
You do
regardless of the
not find
winner.
out any of the times since until
Jeez.
all the games are over.
Okay.
Vandy's putting it on St. Mary's. 27-18.
That's a good one.
Very
I don't know who
interesting.
won SEC Coach of the Year, but that guy Byington probably deserves it at Vandy.
Pearl won it, but I would have been for Gates or Byington instead, taking over the bad program and turning them very competitive. Like I get what Pearl did, and it's not easy, but I don't like their body language. They're such a talented team as it is. Like I don't think I would have voted for Pearl if I actually had a vote.
I just the Coach of the Year stuff. The only thing I hate about it is it's always about the team who has the best record, not necessarily who does the best job.
Exactly.
And it really, that's, and then sometimes guys will win it and they'll do a better job coaching and not even be considered, and they'll do a better job. They'll be competitive with a lesser roster or whatever it is, and they don't get any credit for it. You know what I mean? So it's just, I don't know. It is what it is.
The coaches care.
Care, no. I mean, not to the extent of like they're not like it's not
Only if
something
there's a
that.
dollar figure attached to it.
There you go. That's what I was getting to. Depends on what the bonus.
What are you putting in my pocketbook? And then let's talk.
Those bonuses.
That James Madison athletic department seems to be a pretty well-run operation. They've had at least a couple basketball coaches and football coaches in a row that have won. I know they moved up to D1 pretty recently in football at Siskiyou. Do you have any insight on that? That seems like a pretty well-run shop they got going up there.
Yeah, it's just they had a larger stadium, and they were always kind of a big boy and from a football standpoint FCS. So it was actually, and there are some FCSs that can move to FBS, and their budgets are very few, but not many. But there are some FCS budgets that are larger than some of the Group of Five budgets, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And they're one of the teams that would be. They just have more resources than most, and they winning is it's almost it's a for the most part you'll see teams that win an FCS level. Once they move to the FBS level, they will continue to win or get back to winning really quick. And so it's more of a culture thing. They expect to win, they know how to win, and I think if you can win at the FCS level, you can win at the FBS level, as long as you don't move into some kind of unrealistic conference.
For football, how much, if at all, does the roster have to change that quickly when you make that jump?
Well, it's easier to. That's the other thing. It's easier to do now, right? Because you don't have a limitation of 25. When, and this is one of those things that changed in the last few years. But like when Rich Rod got the job at Jacksonville State. In FCS you got 63 scholarships. In the old rule, you had 63 scholarships to split 85 ways. Okay. And so what they would do is a lot of people would be on quote unquote full scholarship, but they were taking their Pell or any kind of extra money they were getting and applying that to a percentage of a scholarship to make a whole. So like when Rich took the job at Jacksonville State, he did was going to be bowl ineligible the first year or whatever, or his last year of FCS, they were like not eligible for the playoffs or whatever it was, because he went ahead and moved up from 63 to 85 right away. And then basically set that year out. So he had kind of a year to go through his sit out year was before he got to FBS. That made sense. And so they were ready for postseason play. early, and they kind of got let in because there wasn't enough bowl eligible teams this first year, and then they won it this year. So he was able to get Jacksonville State going. Obviously, the negative is you're not going to have money for rev share. Yeah, I think that's a big. There's going to be a big difference you're going to see in football if this model stays with some of the G5 schools and conferences, like Liberty, for example. Liberty will be able to rev share that tens of thousands of percent of anybody in their league.
Mm-hmm.
A huge advantage in rev share, and they've had a huge advantage in NIL anyway. But they'll have a huge advantage in rev share in the Conference USA. Like they're going to be able to give. I mean, I don't even know, an unlimited amount of percentage more than like Jacksonville State will give to their players. If that makes sense.
Breakville with a turnover right there for the Rebels. So far, Ole Miss shooting 70% from the field. North Carolina shooting 44% from the field. Rebounds 5-3 in favor of the Rebels. 5-3 assists favor of the Rebels. Ole Miss 2 turnovers. North Carolina 3 turnovers to dates. 18-10 currently. Ole Miss over North Carolina. Out of control. We got the foul by getting downhill there.
Ole Miss is out physicaling them right now.
It was the one advantage that Ole Miss had in this game compared to who they could have played. There isn't that dominant post guy for the Tar Heels. Like they're athletic as hell and they're fast, but they don't have anything crazy from a post presence.
It don't seem to have a ton of interest in rebounding either, which is advantageous for Ole Miss.
They are not playing Texas A&M today, boys. This is not the Aggies across the court from a rebounding standpoint. Charles says, "Why was that foul on Ole Miss?" Breakfield hooked him and grabbed him. That was the right call.
Hooked him in the ear.
Oh,
yeah, by the way,
that was
Chase. I saw something in baseball the other night that I've only seen on TV. I'd never seen in person. I meant to tell you this the other day.
What'd you get?
I hope the kid's okay. I know if he's pitching tonight. Second batter of the game, DeSoto Central pitcher took a line drive off the face.
Oh,
I'd never seen that. I'd seen it on TV, never seen it in person. It was bad.
I've seen it in my own face.
That happened to you?
Yeah, I got hit right there. It broke it in 3 spots and moved it and dislocated it.
I mean,
went to the doctor and he goes, "Hey, we can do one of 2 things. We can just like grab the big forceps and I can pull it back right here, or we can put you to sleep and like do it with you out."
Oh, did you go out?
I chose to be put to sleep and let you do it that way. Yeah, I had no interest in you grabbing the big tweezers and just pulling the nose back into place. Well, that wasn't the answer.
Yeah, that would hurt. They took him off, and then looked at him. He seemed to be okay, but man, it was scary, man, because you heard it. It hit him so hard that the ball ricocheted straight to the third baseman, and he had enough time to field the ball and throw the runner out at first.
That happened with Luke. It was at the plate instead. But I got really scared for Luke Chang last week before he got up for the Rebels. I mean, that looked bad for a second. It ended up coming off the C flap. So he was okay, but it was tough for a minute.
I was very close to that one. I was front row and center for that one. That made a bad noise, but it hit the C flap. But it was bad.
Shaker Jack saying, "Coach, talking to Siski, what's up with the double T-shirt look? Don't hate it. Just an explanation. You have some solid fashion pieces," he says.
I'm about to go outside and freeze, so I have a thermal underneath the T-shirt that I'm about to put a hoodie on. It's about survival.
Have we done the concessions at DeSoto yet?
No, we'll rock those tonight. We'll figure out what they got. I still got to figure out.
So how do you decide what to choose? Because a lot of times you just kind of grab the hamburger or the hot dog. So like you go with something that is more widespread. That's just what the options are.
If they got something different,
okay.
Like if they got barbecue sandwiches, barbecue nacho, something that you don't see at every concession stand.
Okay.
I'll go with that. If they got, and then like, my lady, my lady down in Pascagoula. I said, I said,
Oh boy.
nothing. I didn't see anything. I mean, it was basic stuff, right? Hamburgers, hot dogs, all that stuff. And I said, what would you recommend? What's your favorite? And she goes, I'd go with the cheeseburger. I was like, okay, it sounds great. Mm, mm, mm.
Do you think it was ground beef?
All right, so I think it was. I think it was from the cat. So they were still in school, right? So we were not getting prime time concession stand, right? And so I
And that's a
swear,
huge disadvantage, Siski. Like that's a huge disadvantage.
hey, you got to call them like you see them. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And I think I felt like that hamburger came straight from the cafeteria at about 9 a.m. because she was cold.
So
She
it might have
tripped
been
me.
soy.
Oh, I didn't swallow. No, did he? I mean, I was
Is
not.
that the worst thing you've had so far?
Oh, without question, it may be the
Okay.
worst. It may be the worst food I've put in my mouth in decades.
My favorite part of it though, Siski, is that you asked for onions and jalapenos, and there was like two little bitty diced onions, and then that thing was bathing in jalapenos.
Brother, when she hit
Bathing.
me with, would you like? I mean, like I had this. She said her favorite was the cheeseburger, right? And then she hit me with, "Would you like peppers and onions on it?" I'm thinking off the top of my head, I said, "All right." She said it was his favorite. She's suggesting peppers and onions. It's gonna be sautéed. You know what I mean? Like real deal off the grill. No, bro. I mean, it was like literally, it was less than a teaspoon of diced onions and about a quarter of a jar of jalapenos.
Ole Miss
Now,
turns it over,
this,
but then gets a break there. North Carolina misses one at the rim. Rebels getting it back. Hubert Davis going sport coat as he always does. Beard in his normal, not one of his normal pullovers. Looks a little different. Got the script M on the front. It's look. Chris Beard is a way better coach than Hubert Davis. The Rebels have the big time coaching advantage here, but Hubert's looking good. I mean, as most people know and listen to this stream, I am very much a proponent of suits and sport coats for the coaches in basketball. I think that ought to get you like 5 extra points. I do. I'm all in.
What if they wore the glasses? Did they get 6.5, 7?
Oh yeah, give them all the damn points, Siski. All the points.
I kind of agree with you, Chase. They went a little too casual after COVID. I'm not
It was
necessarily
bad.
a suit guy.
Sweatpants and stuff. Like,
Yeah, I don't want to make a guy wear a tie, but it not like the Nate Oates look, the kind of zany looking sports coat and no tie, maybe even some sneakers. I'm cool with that.
It all started with the sneakers. That's when it all started.
Ole Miss is unconscious right now from the field. 26-14. Rebels break hits another three. Ole Miss 77% from the field, including 6 of 7 from three early.
They can maintain that pace for the next 30 minutes. I like their chances.
Oh, they got a great shot if they shoot 77% from the field. They are starting though. North Carolina is starting to get into the paint a little bit, get some fouls, and it's a pretty liberal whistle. They're getting a lot of calls in the paint right now.
They talked about the tighter whistle in the NCAA tournament. I didn't notice as much the first day. I wasn't paying as close of attention. I didn't figure it would hurt a team like Ole Miss. But you mentioned the foul trouble. Do they have Brown Jones today? Because that rotation, even though he's just a minutes eater, is pretty slim if he's not like literally available to play.
He is not there, I don't think. That would be a Neil question, but I'm pretty sure he's not. So Bowl would be your next guy up in the front court after your main guys.
Well, he's long. So Siski, is the concession stand tour? Is this?
Go ahead. Sorry, Riffy. Sorry, we're 9. Go ahead.
Yeah, you're good. I was just curious. Is this the concession stand tour? Is this work related? Is this your kid playing baseball? What springs the travel?
I'm just going to watch my kids play. My favorite is when we get the comments like, "Hey, come here, come here." I'm like, brother,
This isn't one bite with Dave. We only go wherever the kid is. Like, we're not taking the tour.
Because I said something like, I go wherever their schedule takes me, right? And they were like, well, schedule us. And I was like, bro, I go where, so like Knox has got games tonight. Brock's got games tonight. Knox plays on Sunday, and I just go where I go. Too many days a week at a ballpark.
Siski's not gassing up the truck on a Tuesday and going, you know what, we're gonna go to South Tillo today and just see what the concession stand brings.
Yeah, I did one. I did one in South Haven, and somebody said you should have stopped by. You should have stopped by somewhere in Memphis. And I was like, no. I mean, I know I'm not. I don't think they understand. I think they must think I'm just driving around random concession stands and stopping by.
Dre Davis has 11 points so far for the Rebels, by the way.
That'll play.
Good kick out for Carolina, and he almost airballed it.
Yeah, you've gone way ahead of me now. You're a good 10 seconds ahead of me now.
Another putback. Rebels up 29-14, 9-16, 9-15, 9-14 right now on the clock.
19 seconds ahead.
Okay.
I'm still on the same pace as Specs.
Another foul, though. That was a really bad foul by Ole Miss there. He just kind of reached up and grabbed him for no reason.
Specs.
If there's any one bad thing going on so far, it's Ole Miss's foul situation a little bit here early.
I think we're missing a whole podcast renaming opportunity with Blue Sky Live with Scoops and Specs.
Specs now.
Scoops and Specs.
The frames are highly aggressive. I mean, they are. They're highly aggressive.
So how do you know?
Texas is a pretty huge liquor store. We could get a little branding deal. Maybe put like the Scott Van Pelt type outline with Chase on one of the liquor bottles. Got potential.
I mean, we could just blurt out the Harry Carey logo and then just put an MPW Digital on it.
Now we're talking.
You know what I mean? That'd be fresh. How do you know if it's recording or not?
It's not recording at all right now.
No, I'm saying like, is there a light or anything that comes on?
Yeah, if you're recording, it is. It's like over here. Like, it's. I hit this button if I'm recording, and there's a little light and shows. If you take a picture, it just blinks. And then if you're recording, it's like a constant light while you're doing it. Like that's what I said the other day. I turned it on when I was talking to Bianco, and like he did this little like double take at me. He like just kind of went, and then he didn't say anything. He just kind of moved on, but he just gave it a little bit of a look real quick.
Wait, hold on. I'm behind here. I got so confused for a second. I thought Siski was asking if we were live and recording right now. Your glasses have a camera on them?
Yeah, that's been our whole conversation, Rippy. These are the.
Hey, welcome to the show.
I was like, hold on, wait a second.
No, these are these Ray-Ban Metas. So they do video and photos. Okay. And yeah, so I was interviewing Mike on Saturday after the game, and I just held up and I hit the little button and turned the video on, and it has like this little bitty light on it. And Mike sort of goes, huh? And they're like, he didn't say anything. He just kind of leaned back for a second and went from there. So Rebels first team to 30-16, Ole Miss over North Carolina, 8:37 to go in the first half. It's been pretty brilliant 11 and a half minutes here for the Rebels so far. Another foul, though. I mean, anytime Carolina gets into paint at all, they are blowing the whistle. It's just that blue blood getting all the calls.
Don't stop fouling. They've only had 6 fouls. 8 minutes. That's not bad.
If I'm way ahead, then it's on y'all. It's y'all's fault. I'm on MarchMadness.com. Like, I didn't do anything wrong.
I'll pull it up on my phone, see if it's faster.
What time do you have to leave for DeSoto County, Siski?
That's a good question, Chase.
You don't know yet?
Oh, no. I mean, a game starts at 7. They're going to start that thing at 7. Padula
has been Oh, that was an awful miss. Juju Murray right at the rim and just kind of threw it off the top of the backboard there. Carolina for 3 cuts it to 11. Carolina now shooting 3 of 8 from 3. Again, Rebels 6 of 7 so far. Carolina 38% from the field, 6 of 16. Dia 4 points for the Rebels. Brakefield 7 points for the Rebels. Murray 4, Morrell 2, and Dre Davis now 13 for the Rebels. Yeah, I'm kind
That's a
of with
pretty
Grind. Like, there's been a couple
effort.
ticky-tack fouls that weren't fouls, and then Ole Miss is also kind of like grabbing and slapping a little bit. Like, they're just getting handsy in the paint. Yeah,
Move your
Carolina
feet.
going to be in the bonus with under 7 minutes to go.
Sort of the same way they've been all year, though, right? A lot of, I mean, they're not overly long or athletic. It's just a lot of hands in the passing lanes.
Yeah, got to be way, 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 way selective on that. Because I mean, they just have no front court presence from a depth standpoint. It's the one way to get in the most trouble, even with the lead. Yeah, it's a light whistle. I mean, it is a lot of whistle.
So I got to ask, when you turned on your camera glasses for Mike Bianco, did that just like break his brain?
Again, he didn't say anything. He just kind of looked at me and he just sort of went, and then he kept talking. Like, yeah, it's gonna. Neil and I were discussing. It's gonna happen at some point here in the next few weeks. He's gonna like it'll be a Wednesday game against Alcorn or something where they win big. He's like, so what's up? Like, what's the situation?
What
He
time do
probably
they play?
thinks you're
Do what?
What time do they
he
play
probably
tonight?
thinks you're a narc, like working for the government.
They play at 6 tonight. 6 tonight, 4 tomorrow for. Still on commercial break. Let's see what else we got. North Carolina. They are currently led by Davis with 6. Withers with 5. Again, they're shooting 38%. Ole Miss 86% still from 3, 6 of 7, 73% from the field. Free throws, Carolina 4 of 6, Ole Miss 2 of 4. North Carolina 3 turnovers, Rebels 4 turnovers. Rebounds are currently 12-4 in favor of the Rebels right now, more than halfway through the first half. 12-4 in rebounds.
Rebounding machines, dude.
It's a good stat for the Rebels. I mean, there is nothing but them being close in the bonus that is a bad situation early on. We will do this like football too for everybody in the stream. Halftime, we'll take that break for a few minutes and then come back with the second half. I will not stay live during halftime. I will need to charge my specs because I got to make sure I have these the entire show. So I have to put them in the case, charge the specs, then we'll come back and continue talking.
So can you go on the internet with those things too?
Well, I mean, I can't like see the internet in the glasses. I mean, they have an AI, they have Meta built into them, so like I can ask questions and it'll answer in my earpiece.
No
How
shit.
does that work?
You say, "Hey, META," and then ask the question, and it talks to
All
you
right,
like Siri or Alexa.
let's ask it a question.
I don't know if it'll do it while I'm doing this. But we can try. What do you want to ask?
I don't know. Let's ask Meta what's its favorite concession stand food is.
Salad, Thunder, Chase, are you the internet? Hey, Meta. No, because I'm doing the audio, it won't kick in. It's disengaged while we're doing it. Then you do that, or you can do like, "Hey Meta, look," and then tell it to look at whatever you're looking at and like describe it or answer a question about it or whatever too. It'll do that.
Okay, so you could say like if you were out in the forest, you could say what is this flower or tree or bush or something to tell you.
I definitely think you can do that.
How about that?
100%.
Look at you.
Yeah.
Speaking of the feed comments, there's several people asking if I'm high. It's called pollen, buddy. The allergies are out of control. I had people at work today are like, "You good?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm fine." I realize my eyes are very red. The allergies are out of control. These first 2 weeks of pollen are brutal for me. Am I the only? Do y'all have allergies? It sucks,
Not even a bit. Literally zero, no matter what. Nothing.
Not
man.
even
The
not
first
a
2 weeks of
smidge.
springs are awful.
I can live in a house of nothing but dust and pollen and cats, and I'll never even get a single sniffle.
I could go
That's nice.
build a tree house in a pine tree right now
Yeah.
and just
Uh-uh.
snort pollen and wouldn't even sneeze.
Great. For the next month, I wake up, I look in the mirror every morning. I'm like, I look awful. I look like I just ate an edible, about to go into work. Like it's brutal, and there's nothing I can do about it. I guess I could like take the contacts out and wear glasses, but I haven't done that in a while. So like,
You,
I'm
you're
just rocking the red eyes for till further notice.
you're blowing a great opportunity here. What you do is you do eat the edible before you go to work, and then you blame it on the pollen. That's what you do.
Oh man, if I actually followed through that strategy, I would be fired by lunch. They'd be like, "What the hell is wrong with this kid? Is he disabled? What's his deal?"
Little fadeaway there from Padula. Nice shot for him right there outside the elbow. 33-19 Rebels. 6:45 to go on my screen here in the first half. Padula's been pretty selective. He's only 1 of 2 from the field at this point. Only shot twice through the first 14 minutes, give or take.
Well, that shot right there just blew that theory. He's fisting the. He's like, I made that fade away. Let me chunk it up from the logo. He's gonna start firing away now.
You gotta do a little heat check, okay? You gotta do a little heat check.
Gotta be on the logo though.
Man, if they're
Yes,
up 14 though with Padula taking 2 shots, that's a good sign for Ole Miss.
yeah. I don't have the Easy Hempco ad to read, but yes, it would be a very good time for that. Easy Hempco. You can head over find them on the website. Rebel Grove sent you. MPW Digital sent you there. Siski doing the little thumbs up. Easy Hempco.
Just one.
Available just one, not two, not three.
Just one's
Okay.
enough.
All right. For like is that like, I mean, are you prescribing that for like a certain size person too? Like does it matter or
I'm just saying, just one. Whatever. Just one's all you need.
so would like a full one work? Like would you give your wife a full one too?
Oh, that'd be awesome. 4-time world champ.
That's what's nice about recommendations like that when they're like, depending on your weight and size, take this. I'm going on the minimum.
Yeah,
you can be careful on that.
Yeah, exactly.
I told Scoops that first time. Maybe it was the second time. Second time I had an easy. I was locked in. I was up here watching, Mount St. Mary's and Grand Canyon play or something in Criteria Club. Locked in. It's like I'm joking. It was bad basketball, whatever it was. But I'm watching, and we needed this game to win. It was like a close game with like 8 minutes to go, and I blinked. It was on the app, right? I'm sitting here just like this watching the game, and I blinked. I swear to you, there was 8 minutes, 9 minutes left to go in the game. I blinked, and it just said, "Your event has ended." Like 40 minutes of my life just disappeared completely. Like I don't even know what happened. Like I was just staring in space, and it was like you woke up, like you just woke up from surgery or something. Like you knew you were awake, but you didn't know what had happened in the last 40 minutes. Is what it felt like.
North Carolina allowing Juju Murray to get in the paint, get an and one opportunity here for the Rebels. Throws it up, it goes.
Inner St. Peter's.
He converts. Traditional three-point play there for the Rebels. 38-21 as they make some line changes. Rebels by 17 with 5:08 to go in the first half. Ole Miss now shooting 72% from the field. Carolina 35. Ole Miss 75% from three at this point. Largest lead of the day for Ole Miss. Again, 17 currently. Some of you guys are probably ahead of me going, no, it's 15 or 14 or 12 or whatever. Got a charge call there going back to the Rebels. Siski, were you pulling for Arkansas or Kansas last night?
Arkansas had the money line at plus 175. Nice little hit for your boy.
Yeah, I found myself rooting for Cal. Like his antagonism and personality cracks me up. I enjoy it.
I got them beating St. John's as well.
Get a little Patino Calipari action. It's always fun.
Yeah, St. John's is one of the most frustrating teams ever to watch.
They didn't play very well early, and then they kind of.
Well,
Padula does too much of that. He gets hit from the back, and gets nabbed a lot. Like he's just not paying a ton of attention.
I think I'm missing you. You're behind, or I'm behind you a little bit. See what happens. I'll watch him. Oh, I see it now. Oh, the referee had his hand up. He wanted to call it.
Iris thinks I can moonlight as a play-by-play announcer. I've wanted to give it a try for Ole Miss baseball on like some non-conference streams when nobody's really listening anyway, and nobody will let me do it. I've asked multiple years to get a shot at doing some TV.
Brother, he's made 2 in a row. Here it comes.
Fire it up, fire away.
Like every game you're getting one or the other. You're getting Padula heat check, or you're going to get Brakefield start backing down dudes from the half court strike. 1 or 2.
Another foul.
That's his version of the heat check.
Ole Miss by 18. Padula picks up the foul there. That is his first.
Already got
it on him.
People with. I told you heat check.
Gavin Barnes 3 fouls. Davis 2 fouls. Dia 2 fouls. That's the early things to watch for the Rebels here. They got to get to half without any excessive fouls on those 3 guys for sure. I mean, Barnes won't play anymore the rest of this half.
I'll bet you he runs clock every possession.
Yeah, he's just trying to get to the house right now.
Yeah.
My theory on Padula becoming a bit of a heat check guy is he was a really efficient scorer for them early on, but they got, particularly when they were bad in conference play, they got so stagnant offensively. He was like their best option. Like it reminds me of that shot against Oklahoma. Was that a great shot on that possession? Not really, but like what the hell else were they going to do at that point in the game? You know, he kind of became their only option, which is pretty wild that they're at this point with that being the case, and Morrell's injury issues.
I give Matt a ton of credit for trying, gutting it out, giving them what they can. He's just so limited right now. He just has no ups, no explosion. He's got duct tape and WD-40 holding his knee together.
Be all right. There's no pain in March.
No second chance points for either team so far. Ole Miss winning bench points 9-1, points in the paint 10-8. Carolina up 5-2 on fast breaks. Carolina 4 steals, Ole Miss 3. And Ole Miss winning assists 10-4 so far. North Carolina has not led. Ole Miss has led for 15 minutes and 59 seconds of the first half. Points off turnovers, Rebels 6 points off turnovers, North Carolina 3, and still dominating rebounds. Maybe that's the most important thing. You've got a 16-9 right now. Ole Miss rebounds.
So you're saying
North Carolina
the rebounds in the first half by 7 and shooting 70% from threes.
I think Beard would be very happy if you went in this morning and said, "Hey, here's the box score with 3 minutes to go in the first half." Chris, what do you think? You want to sign this one in blood, or you want to take your chances and roll the dice? What do you want to do?
We'll take that.
Problem with coaches, and I think you'll agree. Like you don't want to give anything away though. Like you go, no, it might be better. Let's take a shot. Let's see. Let's give it a shot.
Nah,
I mean, not these numbers. This is nuts, but
yeah.
Well, that was like an interesting thread on the board that I thought was. I mean, look, guys, you're probably going to yell at me. I think I would have thought about doing it. It was, hey, if the gods came down and they said, hey, you go to the Elite Eight in basketball, but you finish 9-3 in football, that's a success all the way around. You just take that and run with it for next year. I mean, a lot of folks going, I just don't know. I don't think I'd do that. I'm like, no, you do. You go.
Yeah, 9-3 is going to be a tough slate this year, I believe.
You're going to guarantee 9-3. I take the 9-3 in the Elite
Yeah,
Eight, and I go to bed happy at that point.
yeah, I would at the state of things right now is the way things set on what's the day, March, whatever it is, 25th. Is that right, or the 28th?
21st, 21st.
Yeah, I would take 9-3 in Elite Eight and call it a day.
They are not running clock. They had the ball for about 2 seconds right there. Got the board though. Get to reset. Padula can run it back out. 2:48 on my screen currently.
Well, if Klafke scores, then it's a guaranteed dub.
It's a really poor possession. Alan asking Tyler who you liking on the Troy Kentucky game.
I will be pulling for my Troy Trojans. Okay, I mean hard, no diddy. I mean, I'll be pulling for my Troy Trojans. I don't think they stand a chance.
Did they have any non-con wins of significance this season?
I've made this point, and it's still we've had some upsets and all that stuff. I just think long term, this tournament's going to end up being real chalky long term. I think the difference between I said this with Scoops yesterday too. I think, in my opinion, in basketball, I think we're at the peak of the collective era in basketball. And I think that's why the SEC got 14 teams in. I think that's why the Big Ten's good. The teams that are spending money, like you look at Juju. Where did Juju play? He played at St. Peter's, right? So all of these, you look at Yale. Yale played yesterday. Their center from the really good center they had from that he's playing at Michigan. You look at all the FAU guys are all over the place. Like the Cinderella teams that can make these Cinderella like real runs, their best players aren't playing there. They've left and they're playing now. You know, they're playing guard at Ole Miss or they're playing center at Michigan, and they're playing at Florida, wherever it is. And I mean, I sat there and watched. I don't know, was it the? I was watching a game earlier about some guy that was at. I don't know what team it was. A kid that was at Arkansas State in Miami. Now he was Baylor. He's playing for Baylor now. Like I just think you see all these teams that these Cinderella run teams, all their players are playing in the SEC, Big Ten, or wherever, who are spending money. And I think over the course of time, you know, I think the Cinderella stuff's going to turn pretty chalky.
Klafke is one hustling son of a gun, by the way.
But Siski, if you think about that, it's Walter Clayton. I own a kid, Dalton Connect, Northern Colorado last year. The kid Grant Nelson at Alabama is at North Dakota State. Like the talent in the SEC, which is clearly the best league in the country, a lot of these game-changing players came up from a lower level, which is kind of wild to think about.
You know, and in baseball, I think basketball is the one sport. I mean, baseball is too. Basketball and baseball, so much. It's just different. It's different, right? There is not like a great. I don't even know what we call mid-major. A great mid-major basketball player can be a really good, or you know, can do well in basketball at a bigger level. It's very difficult because if you can shoot, you can shoot, right? And if baseball, if you can pitch, you can pitch. You know, Paul Skeens goes from Air Force to LSU. So if you can pitch, you can pitch. If you can shoot, you can shoot. But like if you're a great left tackle or a great wide receiver, it doesn't necessarily always translate because there's more skills involved. Football is more of a size and length dominated sport.
Real quick here, we're under a minute left. Ole Miss has had 3 or 4 offensive rebounds in a row, and that's been huge from a foul standpoint, running the clock standpoint, and keeping this lead out where it is. I mean, this has been a pretty textbook spot for Ole Miss to keep running that clock down. And North Carolina has a chance to maybe 2 for 1 here, but that's it. You're only giving 2 more possessions at most here, I would assume. You're up 17 currently.
Boy, Siski called it though. Padula is heat checking his ass off. 3 or 4 really contested looks in a row.
Foul on Carolina there. I think I would have let that one go all the way around.
the towel guy's going to need Tommy John at some point. There's no way
He's
this can
rolling,
continue.
Rippy. He's ready to go. He's all in.
That
It's just
guy's UCL's got to be shredded.
how much mileage they going to give Hubert there? I mean, he's one of their dudes, but
He just got extended, right?
did he? I didn't see that.
That story was very weird. They announced it when he kind of got on the hot seat, but they said he signed the extension in the summer. I might have some of the context wrong there, but I thought that was a very bizarre way to present it.
The one that I still don't understand was NC State. I mean, the guy takes you to Final Four and you can't him in the middle of that year. I mean, it's a little brutal.
And you admitted you didn't have enough NIL.
It's brutal.
I mean, you admitted you didn't do enough, and yet here you are.
At a time when athletic departments are having to penny pinch, it didn't really make any sense on any front. Like, you're going to pay that guy's buyout while admitting you didn't give him the resources to succeed. Like, that doesn't sound totally smart to me.
43-28 Rebels. Sorry, 43-25. I apologize. 43-25 Rebels by 18. 28 seconds left here in the first half. North Carolina 35% from the field. Ole Miss down to 54%, 14 of 26. Carolina 9 of 26 from 3. Ole Miss 7 of 12. Carolina 3 of 11. Ole Miss 8 of 12 from the stripe. Carolina 4 of 8 from the stripe. Both teams with 5 turnovers here closing in on halftime.
I take everybody out right here that has a foul.
Yeah. Don't get a cheapo with one possession to go. You're going to the house at worst up 15. Yeah, whatever it is. Yeah.
This is where you could have put in Brown Jones, because who gives a damn as long as he doesn't get a flagrant 2.
This is where you put in Slender Man.
It's a 19-point lead as Carolina holds for final shot. It's been a wonderful first half of the Rebels. 44 points currently.
Little 1-2-2 or 1-3-1 for the last possession.
He wants to make it work some clock.
Maybe not. No, never mind. I made that up.
And they get a cheap foul. 4 seconds to go. It's on Murray. It doesn't necessarily matter, but Bracken, how are you, bud?
Doing well. How are y'all?
Good. Jumping in the stream. We're going to go to break at halftime, but we'll have him in the second half, assuming he's hanging around. So it's all good. I guess quickly before we do that, first half closing. It's been a wonderful first half for the Rebels, but Bracken, what's a couple main, more micro points of what you've liked seeing so far?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think, RJ Davis, these shots he's taken, pretty contested. So he's got 10, but I think they've done a good job of, forcing him into some bad looks. And look, we've talked, Rippy and I have, for weeks about Dia switching on guards and how that can become a problem at times, and how Beard wants to get more out of him on the defensive end. But I think he's done a really good job of switching on some of these guards today and giving them a gap. And you're shooting a pretty high percentage from the 3-point line, but a lot of them are open looks. So sometimes you just get hot, but they're creating a lot of uncontested looks. Got to make your free throws, and a lot of close looks and ones that we need to finish here in the second half.
Talking to Dre Davis at the break, 13 points, 5 of 5 from the field. I'm going to step away for a minute. You guys staying right here, or what are you going to do? You mean to go to a screen, or what are y'all doing? Siski, Brian?
Oh, you're the producer. You're on the ones and twos.
I'll carry with Bracken through halftime.
Okay, good enough.
Joined us. This is I can't see Bracken. You're still there, though.
I'm
right?
going to get him up. Hold on. Let me get him on the screen. Just slow down.
I wouldn't complain. I just asked him.
I mean,
you're the one with the glasses. I can't see shit over here.
Waiting on it. Actually surprised y'all hadn't given me more crap. It's actually been lighter than I would have anticipated.
Just too early to drink.
Is it really though, for you? I mean, are we?
No, I just got to drive.
Oh, you can be in the passenger seat, can't you?
No, we got split duty. I got 9-year-old playing and a 7-year-old.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Okay.
And I wouldn't let her drive anyway.
Would you not?
No.
Really?
No, she drives worse than a drunk person.
Okay. All right, I'm backing away from it. Y'all talk, do what you want to do. I'm gonna mute myself. I'll be back in a second. Rippy, grab the. You probably have it the closest. Grab the halftime stats and just run through those real quick a little bit, would you?
Yeah, I can definitely do that.
Salad asking Bracken, did you go to Turkey? Why are we asking that?
Did I go to Turkey?
Like the
I don't
country?
know. I'm reading from the stream. I read the chats. That's all I got. I don't know.
I don't know. Is there
Halftime
something in my
replay used to be being high. Chase, this is are you still the stat broadcast is password protected. Do you have the hack for that? Can you text that to me?
I can. 1 second.
Okay.
Ole Miss is out rebounding North Carolina by 9, it appears.
That seems like a hell of a sign.
We flagged that as one of the things to sort of watch there because they weren't just awesome at offensive rebounding. That was a spot that you could kind of get them a little bit.
Bracken, you hit on that on Sunday too, and we talked as well. It was, we talked about like the scariness of the name brand maybe for some fans, and despite that, North Carolina being a little bit of a better matchup because while they have pretty dynamic guards, they don't defend very well, and they don't seem to have a ton of interest in rebounding, I think is the way you put it. So Ole Miss being plus 9 rebounding has got to be a good sign.
On their rebounds, one thing that I've noticed when they're getting defensive rebounds is like there's 2 or 3 Ole Miss guys there kind of fighting for the ball, so they're doing a good job of pushing people back as well.
Is it a lack of size for North Carolina or a lack of like a motor? Because, we haven't really – Ole Miss hasn't played a ton of teams yet where they have a really size and length advantage rebounding-wise. Why is North Carolina not very good rebounding the basketball in your opinion?
Well, I mean, I think that we look at it as North Carolina, but more so like just think about all the bigs that Ole Miss has faced in the SEC play this year. Guys like Broom, for those that watch the Memphis game, I'm a big Dane Danger guy. That's all name team right there too. His season came to an end about 30 minutes ago, but a lot of these teams, mid-major teams, and then Carolina, I think San Diego State was probably not a great example of this, but their bigs are like 6'8", 220 or 230. And Ole Miss in the SEC play has played a lot of guys that are, 250. And not only are they 250, but some of them can stretch you out as well. And so I think there's a little bit of size. It's even less of a length thing and more of just a weight. We talked about it a lot this year with Dia. Where he performs really well is when he goes up against guys that are kind of in that 6'8", 230 range, but where he struggles is the longer, heavier guys. I thought he had defensively a really good this half.
I thought so too, and I thought he was going to make a little bit more of an impact offensively. I texted a buddy during the break that there was a period early on in the game, Dia turned down what would have been like a classic Dia flat-footed 3 from the top of the key and then back the guy down and really kind of bully balled it in there. And I was like, all right, they got locked in Dia today. North Carolina might be prepared to go belt to ass here. He didn't make a ton of impact offensively, but to your point, Dia was very impactful defensively. What did you see from him?
I think the big thing that he sometimes gets in trouble with is when he switches on the perimeter, he likes to guard, as far up as 30 feet away from the goal. What he's doing a really good job of is like heels on the 3-point line. He's long enough to where if he puts a hand out, like if somebody wants to shoot a 5 feet from the 3-point line, like go right ahead. But I think he's done a good job of kind of backing up a little bit. He switched on Davis multiple times, and I thought did a really good job.
Looking at these halftime stats that Chase sent me, Padua is 6 points, 2 of 7 from the field, and Ole Miss is up double digits. I feel like they'll take that any time. Siski caught it toward the last 4 to 5 minutes of the half. He got a little heat checky, which is kind of what he's been required to do. But Ole Miss has had a very good, very balanced offensive game and not really they they haven't gotten as stagnant offensively and had to rely on Padua to create shots at the end of a possession. Have you kind of seen the same thing?
Yeah, they're getting feet in the paint from both their guards. Their bigs are doing a good job of. It's not necessarily we're running a lot of action back to the basket for the bigs, but more so being able to like get downhill from the perimeter. The one thing I would say for Brakefield, where I think he has some opportunity, is he's spending way too much time like framing guys up when he gets the ball. Think about like elementary basketball triple threat, but he's doing that for like 5 seconds, and it's like triple threat jab, and then you just got to go.
Looking at just some results from yesterday and earlier today in the NCAA tournament, I texted you this yesterday evening on my way home from work. We talked about like conference strength and bids, and did the ACC get not screwed, but like what do you make of only getting 4 teams and really just 3? You had Clemson and Louisville who went a combined 36-4 in the ACC this year, and to be all honest, they got punked by 2 teams that were certainly not as talented as them. What did you make of that?
Well, I mean, I think like we talked about, like the reason for the bids in the tournament by conference is from non-conference play. And look, Ole Miss went up to Louisville and kicked their ass as well. Obviously, their team looked a little bit different than it does now. But honestly, no surprise. Like, no surprise that the ACC is having the performance they have. And look, hopefully this holds, and we've got another example of that here in about an hour.
Siski, who's your favorite college basketball coach doing this today?
Oh, I've got a bunch. I don't know if I have a favorite. I like a lot. I mean, Beard's definitely one of them. I like Rick Barnes. I like Bruce Pearl. I like Buzz. I like Self. I mean, I a bunch. I don't know if I have. I don't know if I really have a favorite. I just and the game has changed so much so fast with roster building that it's kind of. I think it's interesting to say the least, because I'm interested with like guys who are moving up levels with they've won with not really having to build a roster and get in the recruiting world of paying players, and how that's the thing I've been looking at and kind of interested with is the days of like Nate Oates. You can recruit, but when you got to go pay for players and they've never had to do it, that's just an interesting thing, dynamic to it. You like Nate Oates going from Buffalo all the way up. Those days don't, you can coach, but the roster building is so different today than it was, 2-3 years ago.
Siski, did you hear Will Wade's comments about North Carolina State yesterday after the game?
A little bit. I think I missed the context. I saw a clip, but I think I missed the context of everything he said.
Yeah, I appreciated it a lot. Essentially, he was like, yeah, I've been talking to the guys about this job opening for like a week now. They know it's on their cards, and they know that, March for them is being able to transfer up a league and going to get paid. And I respect that transparency. Rippy, friend of pod on our end, looking like Bill Armstrong's got a real shot at McNeese State with Will Wade going to North Carolina State as well.
Oh, that's awesome. I would love to see that happen for him. But Bracken, you brought up an interesting point. I was going to ask both you and Siski that too. I have to imagine, I mean, it doesn't really matter to the sport. For Wade to be as transparent about that as he was, that's an easier thing to do when you're going from like a mid-major or a G5 to the P5 versus like a dude trying to take another P5 job in a better league. That message probably doesn't resonate as much, right? I mean, that's way easier to do when it's a very obvious step up.
Yes, I'll answer that. I can answer that. I was really about to say that. I was like, it helps with Will Wade's at McNeese State, right? And McNeese would be hard pressed to get a better coach ever than Will Wade, right? Or get that kind of name as a head coach. And if Dan Lanning gets asked about the Alabama or Georgia job, he can't answer it the same way, right? He can't say, yeah, I've been talking to Georgia. You know, if Kirby Smart decided to retire for whatever reason, yeah, I've been talking to Georgia for 2 weeks now. That would not go over well.
Yeah, and I also think the other thing to add to that is like Will Wade and his AD. Like he was pretty transparent with his AD day one. They've got more of a friend relationship than like a professional relationship, and so that helps as well.
Yeah, that's
that was
just
the one.
I mean,
I
think
can't
about.
remember the AD of the Sorry, go ahead.
Like if Lane Kiffin goes, yeah, I've been talking to Texas or Texas A&M. How you think that would go over with a fan base?
Swimmingly. It'd be a ton of fun.
As long as you're honest, it's fine, Siski. That's how that works. As long as you're honest, it's okay. Nobody cares.
Yeah.
We're good. It's cool.
Yeah. It really is. It's refreshing that Will Wade did that. There's this assumption that all coaches are just going to be like, yeah, talk to them all the time. That's why you pay that $3 on December the 31st every year.
So Turnkey makes a lot of money for a reason. It's not the way Will Wade did it.
Brother, you pay that 3%. That 3% keeps you a lot of plausible deniability bought with that 3% on December 31st every year.
And Will Wade didn't do anything. He got caught talking about what all coaches talk about. The problem was it wasn't the NCAA. It was a 3-letter federal government bureaucracy. A little more weight behind that on. I mean, if you get caught on an FBI wiretap saying something, that'll probably follow you for a while. But speaking of honesty, I texted Bracken and Chase this morning. Sorry, Siski, you're not on my shit posting thread at 5:30 in the morning when I look at the news for daily. But if you want to be added to it, just
hey, real quick on that. What the hell were you doing up so early? Because if I text you at like 6, you respond at like 8:45. So like getting a text from you at like 5:45 this morning blew me away. By the way, I was like, what the hell did that come from?
I thought my dog was going to take a dump in our living room, so I had to wake up and
all right.
So I fixed that. Let me tell you because I don't like communicating to people before 8 a.m. And so I got a couple of repeat offenders that like to text me at like 5:30 in the morning. So I start blowing up their phone at 2 a.m. when I'm awake. So that's my new move, and they got it figured out.
See, I like that move the other way because I get a lot of texts at like 11 and 11:30 at night, and I'm like, you don't want me texting you at 4:45.
Yeah, unless we're like boys, I don't text anybody after 9 p.m.
Okay.
Well, so I'm the same way, Siski. Specs here is giving me shit about not responding quickly. I'm an early riser. I just don't. That's between 5:30 and 7:30. That's me time. I do have a 9 to 5 desk job that I slave away at. I am awake. It just takes me a while.
That's fair. Okay.
But what I texted y'all this morning, the Kevin Willard stuff at Maryland is wild to me. He used his pregame NCAA press conference to call his AD a cheap ass, to say his AD screwed up NIL, and was the first university employee to confirm that the AD is leaving for SMU. I've never seen that move before. I was floored by this. I'm surprised it didn't make bigger news.
Dude didn't give a single F at all. Like, just completely going, no. I tell you what, I tried to take the kids to New York for Christmas. They told me we're broke. Couldn't stay in the hotel for a night. Couldn't do it. Sorry. We got no NIL. We got no admin. My AD's going to SMU, so it's hard to deal with him right now. What do you mean to do? It was great. It was fantastic.
The extended press conference is wild. He literally said it's tough to negotiate with someone who's not there because we all know he's going to SMU. Like, damn, man, tell me how you really feel.
What, Siski?
That's called job security. He's got the Terps as a 4 seed. They're going to make real nice, easy. They're up 20-12 right now on the perennial powerhouse Grand Canyon. So yeah, he's had a good year, and that's called job security.
Siski,
everybody on the Maryland message boards are going to take his side in every conversation. Oh, they're all in with that boy.
So good news is the AD's going to have all the NIL he can shake a stick at now.
SMU.
Yeah, that's the. I know Scoops' favorite topic. That's the interesting piece of this whole deal coming up in the next few years is the university versus the NCAAs when it comes to additional funds. That's going to be the interesting part because you already got lawsuits. I think I saw Tennessee filed theirs the other day. They joined, I can't remember how many states. that are suing, saying that the NCAA can't regulate NIL. So I'll be interested to see how that's enforced, because this whole thing does not work without it, and they're already suing against it. So I don't know, man. It's gonna be very, very. And then how do you classify? If it was regulated like it was supposed to be regulated, then you actually have something here to get things under control. But if it's not, and you've already got states challenging it, I'm just kind of curious what happens come July 2nd.
On that note,
Brian, two things real quick. Candler Harris, thanks for super chat. Says last time the Rebs won a tournament game, Rebel Black Bear was on the sidelines. That's true. I hope he's doing well at Lenore Ryan. He got in the transfer portal, hanging out at Lenore Ryan now. So I hope that's going well for Rebel the Black Bear. And then you have Bracken on every week during basketball season. People saying who have not checked out your podcast, they should. But you want to give a little introduction to Bracken.
Yeah, Bracken was a Jackson Academy legend, one of the greatest point guards to ever come through the Central Jackson area. No, he's one of the smartest people I ever met. He worked for Andy Kennedy for a while. We started doing this podcast a few years back. We always joke about it. We started it like the year after they made the NCAA tournament, and so like 3 or 4 years of just irrelevance followed. So the first time Bracken and I done a podcast in February and March was this year. So we're just making history by the episode. So come check us out. The one thing I was going to ask Bracken, though, because I know you want to get off for the second half, is we talk about rev sharing in football and all of that. Well, one of the issues Willard brought up was the fact that he only got X amount rev share projected for basketball. Have you heard how rev share is going to affect basketball? Or coaches lobbying for more money? What have you kind of heard about like the split between football and basketball at schools?
Yeah, well, those conversations, like really the last week or two, have really kicked up. I mean, a lot of it is like kind of fluff, December and January, but with the coaching cycle about to open back up, that's a big piece of it. So you've got, hey, the portal late December with football, and then now it's trying to get that percent allocation of the total budget with these basketball coaches. And right now is like it's total leverage time for these coaches either to get increase in their packages or to go somewhere else with new ones. And it's going to be interesting. We see somebody in the chat talking about like Texas, Brad Underwoods and Sean Millers of the world. You're not just playing some of these schools to get your salary increase. Now you're playing the game to get your NIL increase as well.
You didn't address the MIS legend part. We hit this on the live show the other night. If you told anyone else how I got you a starting job in junior year by getting the starting point guard suspended?
Yeah. Why don't you take that one? Take that one, and I'm going to hop for the second half. I'll hear it on YouTube. But y'all have a good one. Hotty toddy.
Appreciate it, bud.
We don't have to tell that story.
You don't want to snitch on yourself?
Well, no, it's out in the open. What had happened was I had agreed to play basketball my senior year. I was terrible. That's well documented. But the JA prep football game, the Jackson prep side did not have a bathroom. So I was one of many who like peed on their tennis courts, but I got caught by a police officer who then started pulling kids and breathalyzing them. And I got JA starting point guard suspended for 6 games, which means Bracken had to start for the 6 games in between. So I got him a lot of minutes early on in the year. Our coach hated it, if there's any sort of doubt there. So yes, that's how I got Bracken some more minutes.
Great job.
Yeah, got in-school suspension for 5 days.
Did you really?
Oh, yeah. And they pulled 3 other kids out of the stands. And the next football prep rally, they started chanting "Free the 4." So I basically caused a riot.
Somebody in the stream, appreciate it, Brady, says my glasses make me look younger. See, there's the positive. I'm getting my age down. Looks like I'm not a day over 30.
I fundamentally disagree with that statement.
Yeah, you got 40 under 40 last year. I was like, how did you qualify?
I got that like 4 years ago. 3 years ago. I was under 40. I was like 30 something. It's up there. Yeah, I got a little plaque. I've gotten to 40 under 40. So you like at some point you run out of like you just get over 40, so it kind of runs out at some point. Yeah, I
I
don't know
had an
what Lee. I don't know what you're saying, but you're probably saying that Ole Miss get beat by Kansas in the 1981 NCAA tournament. Yes, the year they won the SEC tournament, Kansas was the opponent, and they lost to them in their first game of the NCAA's. Ole Miss went through in the finals of the SEC tournament that year. Ole Miss went through Dominique Wilkins and the Georgia Bulldogs to get the invite.
Hey, Rippy, before they get started, because I know that's not what we're on here for, I know of an SEC team that's going to be at 62% for football and is going to split 12.5% with baseball and the missing 12.5% with baseball and men's basketball.
Really?
Wait, really?
Yeah. I know of a ACC team that's going to go 90% football. So
90?
90.
We are all in. We're all in. Hey, here.
Wait, so Siski, when you say 60-something%, talk to me in that like money percentage, because I went to journalism school in Mississippi. What is like when you say 62%, how much is that for football?
Yeah, so 62%.
So that would be
you got 20 million, right? 20.5 million. And so if you're adding new scholarships, okay, if you're going to add scholarships, because like example, like Georgia's the case that's out there, that's very up to $2.5 million. You can take that off the gross of your rev share number. So when you start splitting up the percentages. So Georgia's going to do the 75, 15, 5, 5, but they're doing it off of 18 million. Does that make sense? Because they're adding 100 scholarships.
It does. And as soon as I asked that, I realized it was a dumb question, because even if you take the whole pot, 62 for football is very low. And then what you said they disperse it to is even wilder.
Well, that's where the trick comes in, right? I think some of these teams that are going to go lower are going to be in states that challenge the NCAA on the NIL extra money. Because look now, like I know, example, there's two kinds of contracts going right now, right? You have rev share contracts and NIL contracts and a combination of both. I mean, I know of schools and states that are completely emptying out their collective by July 1st. And so they're paying to get players. They're basically emptying out their collective, and they're going through the old Deloitte, they're going by the rule book. The people who aren't playing against the people who are not going to play against the rule book moving forward are going lower percentage. And splitting it up and trying to make basketball and baseball, give them a chance to be competitive. And the ones who are kind of playing by the book are going to be a higher percentage in football and basketball, not so much as baseball. So I'll be interested to see how that works. I don't think
part of that's because baseball doesn't have a set percentage to begin with. They're just mixed in with the others. So there's no
right.
Siski, if you were still working and you were trying to get a kid, and some nerd at Deloitte hit you up and was like, "Sorry, Tyler, you can't do that." How would that have been handled?
It's not even like that. So I posted on the board yesterday because we get asked questions about it all the time. I try to put a pretty good explanation. So basically, anything over $600, okay, that is a booster-led payment. Okay, so I used the example yesterday of Canon Chevrolet, right? If Canon Chevrolet wanted to pay the left tackle, okay, whoever it's going to be, $100,000 to do a commercial. And once that happens, it's over $600. They got to run it through this freaking algorithm, this computer system. And they may say, hey, he's only worth 50,000. Well, the second that happens, then that money is now going to come out of your rev share, your cap, not an NIL payment. Does that make sense? So now you're kind of being penalized for it.
Oh, really? I didn't know that, Siski. Really? Okay.
Kids still can get paid the money. It's just it's going to come out of your cap.
Wow.
So then is what happens when they get over the cap, and I don't have an answer for you. Nobody really knows.
Well, and to your point, I mean, this is one of the million things we talked about on that podcast we did in January. Would that not just open up a lawsuit immediately? Who's to say that kids worth that? Your fair market value is what someone wants to pay you.
Yeah, I have serious questions, and my main question is, I mean, is it really who's paying Deloitte? Well, it's not the kids. Who's paying them? So what side are they going to, but it's allegedly, and I've talked to people. I've about 2 months ago, I kind of got some clear stuff on this. And I mean, it is a computer program. Heat check. But I don't know. I don't know. I don't have great. I mean, nobody really knows. Anybody that says they know, they don't know. I mean, literally, there are people going, we're just going to pay them and figure it out later. But there are, I saw Tennessee joined it. Shocker. Why does Tennessee states that have really good baseball teams? I don't even know if Mississippi's part of it yet, but I'm sure they will be. Are going to, I would imagine the Southeastern Conference states are going to want to challenge the NIL over the top deal.
A little bit of an update
suggesting
here. Getting the second half off going. Ole Miss out hustling Carolina. They're playing hard, but been a little sloppier, a little bit of a more disjointed opening to the half. But the Rebels by 20, depending on how that ends. Okay, going to the line. 2 early fouls on Ole Miss here in the second half. North Carolina will be shooting free throws in a second, but Rebels up 20, 16:02 remaining. So almost to the first media timeout here. Carolina player down on the floor. Can't tell who that is at the moment. And then, the other scores around the country right now. Vanderbilt now down 3 to St. Mary's with 4:13 to go. St. Mary's 53-50, low scoring game there. Again, almost to the final media timeout of the game against the Gales. And then Grand Canyon struggling against those Maryland Terrapins we were talking about a second ago. The Lopes are having a rough day, 39-24 Turtles right now over Grand Canyon.
This St. Mary's Vandy game was actually very fascinating because Vandy's the worst defense. Was the worst defense in the league. They're not very good defensively. And St. Mary's is one of the slowest paced yet most efficient teams in the country on offense. So it's been a kind of a very intriguing matchup.
I bet that is fascinating because St. Mary's is a bunch of slow Aussies. It's half court every single possession.
Every possession. Shot clock is on the floor. The red shot clock is on the floor every possession. So every possession's inside 5, seems like.
I like that graphic addition, by the way. I'm a fan.
That they put the key.
Yeah, I like it.
It just keeps you from looking down.
Yeah, Beard wearing the M script on his pullover today.
Is this the same guy that got hurt, or did he perform a Lazarus, or is this a new guy? I think it's a new guy.
Yeah, it was 14 that got hurt. Guy comes in, hits them both though. 18 now for the Rebels.
Yeah, I feel like that was.
Notice how empty the fan section is behind Carolina's bench, and I even noticed this when the game is close, and the Ole Miss bench is just completely jacked. Seems like a blue blood school that is not thrilled about being in the tournament. Am I wrong in that? Not thrilled about where they stand, I should say.
That is an and one there from Malik Dia. The guy that just came into the game actually shot the free throws. He commits the foul on the other end as Dia does put it away. Dia now with 6 points going to the line. Padula with 8, Murray with 7, Dre Davis 15, Brakefield 12, and Matt Morrell with 4. Klafke and Barnes have played minutes, but they have no points for the Rebels. Ole Miss now shooting 49% in the game, the first time they've been under 50% since the opening minute.
Fire them.
Fire them. Done. Falling back now. First media timeout here. 15:51 to go in the game. Ole Miss 52-32 over the North Carolina Tar Heels. Are you going to follow on your phone tonight with actual video? You just going to look at scores? What are you going to do, Siski? You're going to be following the baseball game. So what are you doing?
I'll be watching every clip of basketball.
Okay.
I'll look up when the track star goes in the game.
Otherwise, you're good. He's over there somewhere. He'll be all right.
Yeah, he'll be all right. When Brock goes run track in the middle of the first or second inning, whenever it happens, I'll peep up and I watch.
So I mean, he's got a little bit of a wheel issue right now. How badly is it affecting the speed situation?
Not so far. Okay. Yeah, I told you. I felt like a bad parent the other day. I was over there just crushing him, talking about how soft he was, and then had a little blood pool the next morning, so I felt bad. But I didn't let him know I felt bad. But I did. I really did. I didn't tell him I felt bad.
Oh, you didn't give it away. You felt bad, even. You didn't tell
Yeah.
him.
Why? Why do that? You keep him on. You got to keep him on edge. Got to keep him on edge. But yeah, I was questioning his toughness there for a little while until I saw the blood pool. Then I felt terrible for being an asshole.
So what's the district record to date? Is this just now starting or what? What are we doing?
3-0. Yeah, they I can't remember what the score was the other night. They kind of opened it up in the last inning, and they had a 3-run homer in the bottom of the sixth. I think they won 8-3, 8-4, something like that.
Okay. Yes, Brian Brock is faster than our boy Tyler over here.
Yeah, he is faster than I was. That is the truth. Hate to admit it. I quit racing him. He beat me at. I used to race him, and he beat me about 3 years ago, and I hadn't raced him since. Sad day as a parent when your kid outruns you.
Is that kind of like when you lose to them in golf for the first time, or they beat you in 21 or whatever it is? Like is that in that realm?
I don't have to worry about him beating me in golf. I think I'm good there.
I was you don't have a kid that's ready to go that's going to get you on the golf course.
Yeah, Knox may be the one that gets me, but he's not old enough yet. But Brock has a tough time hitting. He's not a phenomenal striker of the golf ball.
Takes after his dad. Then that's good.
His dad can strike it. His dad just don't know where it goes.
That's fair. All right.
I got some new sticks now. I got some new weapons.
Well, yeah, you sent me your numbers. I mean, you were all about the launch angles and the distance.
Yeah,
with
I got
the
some
new
new
sticks.
weapons.
Did they go any straighter?
Well, that's why I got the driver. I got the driver, which was crazy. My ball speed was way down with the new driver compared to my driver. Ball speed was but it was way straighter. So I went with a calm down driver.
Okay.
So I got a Callaway Elite driver, and I got the Mizuno JPX Hots irons.
JPX Hots.
Yes.
Mizuno makes a good golf club.
Let me tell you something. I don't care. I mean, I hit them all. I hit Titleist, TaylorMades, Callaways, Mizuno. I hit them all, brother. Those JPX Hots are hot. They feel good.
56-53 St. Mary now over Vanderbilt. North
That's
Carolina
my
on a little
down at the chat. That's my man Brian Rout. Brian played with me.
Oh, really?
Brian played.
Okay.
Yeah, Brian played with me when I was younger. Yes, Brian. He is a hell of a lot faster than I was.
Carolina cuts it to 17, a little mini 4-0 run right there. Got some easy buckets too. That's two at the hoop with the layups.
We got a 3-point game with a minute to go in the Vandy game.
Yeah. Are you eating before you go, Siski?
Yes, I'm not. I'm not depending on a concession stand for my nutrition tonight in an unfamiliar territory. I'm tired of eating concession stand food. We're in March. We got a long way to go.
It's a tough gig being an influencer,
Brother. No, it's just being a parent. It's tough, man. Like you go. I mean, all kidding aside, 3 nights a week, I'm at the park 7 hours.
It's 4 fouls on Lubin for North Carolina right there, so he's back to the bench.
I think we ended the conversation late, but I am part of the Mizuno iron cult. I've hit Mizunos for a few years, and those things are sweet.
That's the first time I'd hit them, and like it's one of those deals that, it's kind of like, I don't know if you guys are handgun owners. They say that once you pick up a handgun, you'll know it when you pick it up in your hand if it's the one you want. It kind of just feels right. It's the same thing with a golf club, man. Once you put it in your hand, you hit it, you just know it, man. When I put that Mizuno in my hand, she felt right.
I didn't get a replay to see if that was a foul right there. North Carolina shooting free throws. But I don't like when the officials call the foul and he's behind the action and he's trying to call something seeing through the defender. He can't see if anybody touched or not. He just sees the offensive player throw the hoop up and he blows the whistle, but he can see nothing because he's being blocked out by the defender.
Chase, he's got the over, man. There's only he's got to get them in both double bonus before the 10-minute mark to get to hit the over.
He might have these glasses. He can just see it all. Cigarette X-ray, right through it.
I mean, that is a deal.
They are starting to hunt Murray a little bit here, and it is effective. It has been effective in Carolina.
If you ever want a contrast in what's going on in the Rippey household, my wife is outside building a tomato garden. I just walked outside and said, "Hey, what are you up to?" She's like, "What are you doing back there again?" I was like, "Just talking to some friends." No concept what's going on here in the NCAA tournament.
Chase has not really played much golf at all in like the last year and a half, but Chase, I swing PXGs.
Can't hide money.
I got them used.
Bullshit.
Brian, I did. I got them used.
I mean, you did, but has PXG sent you an email and being like, "All right, the jig is up. Your 7-iron is a 4-iron loft. That's why it goes that far," or is that still to come?
They were 2 degrees. They're 2 degrees strong. So yeah, I always feel a little better about things when I swing them. It's like, hey, oh, okay, yeah, it's got an 8 in my hand. That's fine for 172.
I'm fellow lefty. I was jealous when you got them. I'm a remarkably short hitter, and it pissed me off when you started hitting the club. When you started hitting 2 clubs longer, it was aggravating.
Yeah, they're in the garage right now. Like I have not played.
I haven't touched a golf club since August.
Have you really not?
No, not once. I'm still on the wait list for this OCC thing, which doesn't sound promising. And if you don't book a tee time at university a couple weeks in advance, you're just tough. I mean, I can go to Mallard Point by myself, but I'd probably get put on a watch list for that. I mean, I don't know who does that.
Just a little bit of a interesting situation here. Ole Miss needs to be careful. Carolina has cut it to 13. Got a lot of momentum right now. The one basket Ole Miss has had in the last 4 or 5 minutes is a Padula jumper from like 18 feet. They're not getting a lot of great looks at the basket, and Carolina's got a little more energy. So it's 13 right now. Ole Miss needs a bucket or two to kind of calm this back down and not turn it into a game. 12:41 on the clock. Oh, that was huge. Padula gets the bucket. Going to get a free throw.
Maybe not.
No, I think he's okay there. He looked all right.
Yeah, he's good.
Point a minute. All right, Vandy's down through the ball with 27 seconds to go.
All right, key us up on that. Take me through it. Do a little play-by-play, Siski. I don't have it on.
I'm more of a color commentary guy.
Either way, just tell me what the hell's going on. It's fine.
They're dribbling around in circles. For the 3, off the rim, off the front, rebound. There's a pile up. Oh, Vandy comes out with it. 7 seconds. They didn't call a jump ball. Vandy's got it. 3 for the tie. Off the back, rebound. St. Mary's ball game.
So Vanderbilt is out of here.
So I believe
number 1. The criteria club today is a check mark.
Oh, you had that one? Okay.
Yep, we had St. Mary's, Maryland, Kentucky, and Oregon for, I think it was like plus 166 today.
So I believe, just quick math, I think the SEC went 4-3 yesterday with a state loss, a Vandy loss, and a Bama win. That puts the SEC at 5-5 so far.
Randy and the Thread has them 5-5, so I'll take his word for it.
Okay.
Now the only, and we'll call it the 6th seed the cutoff. I mean, I guess it's the first round. Let's see who gets to the second weekend. But Missouri is the only 6 and higher to lose.
Yeah. Like I don't. I mean,
The Big Four are still in play with Bama, Tennessee, Auburn, and Florida.
Let me tell you what really annoys me though is like when you were watching the Mississippi State game. I know Ole Miss fans probably didn't bother Ole Miss fans, but there is such a like I guarantee you CBS has lowered down the boom to everybody that they're pulling against. I mean, every narrative is against SEC teams. You know, I think this has to do with a football TV deal. But like the announcers for that game felt like you were watching a Baylor home game. They were really excited when Baylor made a play, and it was like, oh, Mississippi State with the answer. You know, it was like, oh, block shot by Baylor. You know, it was just a very unique deal there. But no SEC team. I don't have a single SEC team that's won that I didn't have them getting put out in the round of 32. So,
the chalk's still the chalk.
Chalk is still a chalk, and you still got they're 5-5. You got Ole Miss playing right now; they're winning right now. You got Florida still to play. You got Kentucky still to play. So that's going to put you. Who am I missing? Who's the other team I'm missing?
Is it OU
Oklahoma?
UConn? Have they played yet?
So probably at worst they're going to be, 9-5.
8. Yeah.
I mean, at worst
8-6.
8-6.
Yeah.
But I think that's one of my favorite plays of the day. I've bet that
and
separately.
Can you go 6-2 in the next round? Can you get 6 in?
Well, I think Florida, Auburn. Auburn's got their hands full, but I like Florida, Auburn, Kentucky,
Tennessee.
I
was going to say Alabama, but who do they have in the round of 32?
Alabama,
I actually don't know.
St. Mary's. They won't be. St. Mary's won't be able to keep up with the pace. That pace does not. That pace does not favor St. Mary's. You're going to let Alabama line up and play defense. So yeah, I think they can get 6 to the Sweet 16.
And if Ole Miss were to hang on, not that I'm predicting Ole Miss to go to the Sweet 16, they got a pretty favorable draw. You got Iowa State without its second leading scorer if they were to win tonight. I mean, Ole Miss got as good a draw it could have possibly gotten.
Exactly. You got your best matchup you could ask for.
Randy points out the Big Ten's 4-0 so far. I don't know who they are. But...
If it's going to be 5-0 with Maryland.
So has Illinois played yet?
They play tonight.
Okay.
Xavier, Illinois. But my favorite bet tonight is Oklahoma plus 5.5. It seems like a lot of points.
I just don't like UConn.
Better than UConn.
Yeah, UConn's a little fishy. Now they got experience, right? Or the people who are there got experience, and you got they've been there, done that. And you got Oklahoma who hasn't, so. But they're playing well down the stretch.
Is getting out rebounded by Ole Miss by 11 a fireable offense? They just showed that stat. Ole Miss is up 27-16 on the glass.
Did the coach at any time say don't rebound?
We'll never know, I guess.
So that's why I have a whole different. I think I'm guilty of it. Everybody is guilty of it. Like, in my opinion, baseball and basketball in particular is so much about roster construction than it is about, and again, I understand, but from a coaching standpoint, it's like in nowhere in shape or form did he just coached number 9 to take it to the hole, and like there's no coaching involved. You know what I mean? Like, you either got better dudes or you don't a lot of the time.
That's a hard foul right here on Ole Miss. Let's take a second. Barnes, they get tripped up. They're both falling down, and they tag Barnes with his 4th foul off the ball right there.
Will that not go to review and a hook and hold on the other kid?
Does not appear. The stat broadcast has already picked it up. That's a tough foul right there in a couple different ways. Ole Miss had the ball back after the multiple miss.
It's a little floppage.
That's a tough call in a number of ways right there.
A little floppage.
Siski, though, to continue your point, though, particularly in a sport like basketball, that's kind of a key is to get your kids to do what you ask, right? I mean, at the end of the day, that's kind of the name of the game.
In basketball?
Well, yeah, basketball in particular, because you only have 5 guys on the floor, you're closer to the floor. But football, anything, you talk about like you didn't coach the kid to do that, but like at the end of the day, like not that that's solely what coaches are responsible for, but like having a responsive team that does what you ask.
At this point, I guess my point is like at this point of the season, you kind of know who you are, and I think that's why basketball, like in the off season, they can coach small groups. You know what I mean? Like you know your matchups, you know who you're trying to attack, all that stuff like that, and yada yada yada. But whereas in football, it's every single play a coach determines whether it's going to be, a coach is either going to set you up for failure or success every single play. And then it goes to the
Big
player.
roll there for Morrell.
Yeah, you're ahead of me.
Big roll. Goes from 9 to 11 right there. Actually goes to 13. Sorry.
Really good timeout from Beard after, I thought.
There's been some kind rims.
Yeah, that was a boom, 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 boom.
Oh, Beard yelling at Dia. That could have been a GIF for the season. Did you see how pissed he was at Dia before that break? You could put that on the cover of this season, however it turns out.
Dia's got to be really careful right here because there is 10 minutes left and he's got 3 fouls.
Siski,
you already
you
have
ever
Barnes with 4.
Like you just can't relate to him. Wildly talented, but just incredibly frustrating to coach, even though he like produced for you on the field. Where it's just like I can't make this kid fully get it because that's what they have with Dia.
What was the first part of the question?
Just did you have a kid like that in football? Like wildly talented, still performed for you on the field, but you just couldn't make him fully get the full picture.
Yeah, every year, about half of them.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
And there's no way to know ahead of time, is there? Like, I mean, you can't really peg it always. I mean, you just
like once, like you're waiting for, like in football, I mean, look, you got to put the best players out there. And they still make plays and do stuff, but you're hoping that the more reps you get, the sooner the lights will come on. But yeah, I mean, it's yeah, I've had a gazillion of them, more than I can count. And then you get some, I hate to say it, but there's a high correlation. There is a high correlation where the guys, and particularly in football, the guys that do the right stuff all the time and are fundamental all the time, they're not very talented. The highly talented guys are usually the ones that you got to stay on top of. And then if you do get a guy that does the right stuff all the time and he's really talented, those are called first-round draft picks.
Those are in high demand. You're few and far between and high demand. Yeah, it's cool.
But yeah, it's like I still remember, like to the day. So I always say, like Amari Cooper is always my unicorn. Is during camp. During camp, he was running a go route down the side, and he came on, and it was, it didn't catch it or whatever, and he was running side by side with the guy, and I had a technique that I would teach receivers. I used to call it slot pull. And so when you're running side by side with a guy down the sideline, truly side by side, and you need to, and you read the ball out in front, and you need to stack him, you will, as you're running, you will put your arm, your fist, like in front of his chest, and you pull, so you keep the movement, but you elbow him and stop his momentum just enough where you can stack him. And so I showed that to him and explained it to him. And this was like in August. I don't remember who we were playing. Maybe in Arkansas. I think it was Arkansas. And he catches a go ball for a touchdown. And I dapped him up. He goes, "You like that slot pull?" And it was like 8 weeks later. And so you're like, holy shit, how did you remember that? I mean, he hadn't done it once since, and that's just those dudes are different. And that was probably the only 4 words he said the entire game. He was a mute.
I was about to ask about that. Is I've heard Saban on a couple of different clips talk about how Amari Cooper never said a word the entire time he was there. Is that true?
Dude, he didn't know how to drive. Yeah, I mean, the 2 crazy things with Amari Cooper is Amari didn't have a car. And not because he couldn't get one, because he didn't have a driver's license. He didn't know how to drive. So he rode the tram everywhere. And like you would go do bed check. So coach made during camp, coach would everybody had to stay in the dorms. And so Amari never moved out of the dorms. Like all these guys, you stay your first year and you leave. Amari stayed in the dorm the whole time he was at Alabama. And he got to, took care of him a little bit, and he got to stay in his own room by himself, his own apartment by himself, his own dorm by himself, which at that time the dorms were like, I'll call them like the college parks, where you have 2 bedrooms, a bathroom, a living room, kitchen, and 2 bedrooms and a bathroom, and he stayed in one by himself. And we had to put him at the end of the hall and then buffer nobody next to him. So basically one person took up 2 rooms, 2 different apartments, because you would go do bed check. I will never forget this as long as I live. You go do bed check. My first year, I go do bed check, like first night of camp. And the music coming out of Amari's, I mean, it was like there was a freaking rock concert going on. I mean, it was coming through you could hear it walking down the hall, and it was so loud. And so I opened up his door, and it's just, I'm talking about blaring as loud as you can turn up a stereo, as loud as you can do it. Okay. And I'm like, what in the hell is going on? And I'm like, there's nobody here. I thought I was walking into a party. There's nobody here. I walk in there, dude's sound asleep on his bed. That's how he slept every night. I'm talking about as loud as any party you've ever been to.
Interesting. That sounds very like dysregulating.
Well, it didn't. It worked pretty good for him.
Clearly.
Yeah, I thought about going home and turning the music up myself if it made me that fast.
63-50, 8 to go. Just clicking under 8 to go right now. Ole Miss 6 fouls. Got a lot of foul trouble. They got 2 guys at 3. They got Barnes at 4. Carolina's missed a couple threes right here in the last couple possessions that would have cut it to 10.
We need
had a little spurt.
This game's not over until we get some Clafty points.
Wait till you
right
see
there.
this.
He's up.
Did he shoot?
He should. If you want to call it that.
Yeah, technically, could have been a pass.
It wasn't ideal. It didn't help. It didn't help the home team. Let's just say that.
Well, that's bullshit. He was looking for the alley-oop. Nobody was there.
I agree with that. He's so hesitant to shoot the basketball. He should have shot that and not pump faked it. But, this came up in the Vanderbilt game a lot. There were a couple of times in that game where they needed him to shoot the ball, and he was a very accurate shooter in non-conference play. And somewhere along the line, he lost confidence. But, you can tell watching him play now, he does not want to shoot the ball at all. And I don't know where that came from. Bracken was arguing that he might be one of the rare freshmen that plays more minutes in conference than non-conference. And that obviously didn't develop into being the case, but he was a pretty efficient player in non-conference, and he's just totally lost confidence. I don't know what happened. Freshman, I get it, but damn.
Neil thought he had one B on a women's basketball line, and it was that Dawn Staley was pissed, so he wanted to take South Carolina minus 48 against Tennessee Tech today. They won by 60, so he would have easily covered the chalk there with the Gamecocks laying the 48.
You gotta be some kind of degenerate to bet on women's basketball.
I was about to say that just in general. If you're the sicko that laid South Carolina minus 44.5, what's your Friday like? What are you doing today?
There's
what
two.
You have going on?
Right? Yeah, there's 2 stages. One, you're betting the women's basketball. That puts you, but then you're not only betting women's basketball. It's not like you're betting the championship game or the Final Four. You're betting a first-round game and you're laying 48 points. That's got to be a whole new level of degeneration.
Will Hawk, what do y'all think of the SEC losses? Still think the SEC is the best conference. Basketball is the only sport, maybe baseball, where you can be in one game then off to the next. They've only been upset one time. Missouri's the only team that has lost with a white jersey on, unless I'm forgetting someone.
And in fairness, Missouri got a 30-4 Drake team that was really, really good. They just couldn't get enough P4 teams to schedule them to get an at-large bid.
Missouri was not the same team away from Como.
They just struggled down the stretch. They'd lost. They give it up 90 points in 4 of the last 5 games.
Yeah, Siski nailed that. They really weren't the same team the last 4-5 weeks of the season.
Kind of started with that Texas Tech walk. I mean, Texas A&M walked it off. Wade Taylor hit that 3, and Como they kind of went backwards a little bit. Not the same
State,
team that went Gainesville and beat the Gators.
yeah, State was an
Beat the
8, but
hell
it's an
out of
8-9
Purdue.
game. I'm holding that against them. And Georgia was in an 8-9 game, I think.
Yeah,
And Gonzaga was drastically underseeded. The problem with Gonzaga, they don't play in a league good enough to improve their seeding, and Few's team wasn't very good in the non-conference, so they were just kind of stuck there. But that's a pretty good basketball team with still pretty elite talent that was just stuck in the 8-9 line because they dominating the WCC or whatever they're in doesn't do anything for the committee.
that was one of the few there was a drastic difference between what Kim Palm thinks of them and what the net thought of them.
100%.
Same thing with Memphis, right? Memphis the same way. They had Memphis a lot higher than what Kim Palm had them.
Yeah, 12 seed Colorado State was favored over Memphis today. And I know Memphis had a kid out, but
Memphis had a really good net, right?
yes.
Yes. No. Their net was whatever. It was Ken Palm was pretty good, right?
It
Because
was
they
the
got way
opposite.
seeded. Was it the opposite? Okay.
No. I thought you were right, Chase, is what I was
Yeah, I
saying.
think so. The net was like way out there, I thought, because the seed never made sense.
One of them there was something that they had something that was way off. It was just
It
totally
is a
different.
10-point game for the first time in a long time. 6:44 to go. Carolina hits the wide open 3. Ole Miss no points last 2:15 and counting right now of game
Okay, so
time.
you've got to get your crunch time lineup back in here and take a timeout if it gets to
And another turnover, so headed to 8 right here.
wow.
Spins off the rim, but they still got the board and the put back and up. It's 8. It's 63-55, 6:19 to go.
He's trying to get Brakefield and somebody in, but he doesn't want to take a timeout.
Yeah, he doesn't take them out. He's got 2 left.
Little 7-0 run here for Carolina. Not a little, but a 7-0 run here for Carolina. Under 6 now.
They got to get to the rim.
Yeah, they're not doing anything to get to the rim, get to the line, try to create a little bit of momentum.
Uh-oh.
And Juju shooting a 28-footer at the clock is not the answer to the possession.
Watch how it ends.
Yeah, I know. Let's cut it to 6. 63-57 now, and there is a timeout. 55-40 to go. Completely back in the game now are the Tar Heels. 63-57, Ole Miss up. We are in a timeout. 5:40 to go. That is a 9-0 run now for Carolina. It felt like, I mean, there was that second there where it just stayed at 13 and Ole Miss had multiple 5, 6, 7 possessions to push it back 15, 17 and kind of get it away. And then
And to your
faltered
point,
right
Chase,
there.
you made the comment earlier about like this could get weird with about 13 minutes left. Ole Miss made a couple of very contested and ill-advised shots to keep it from getting to like 8 or 10 before the under 12, and now it's kind of catching up to them.
Lead was as high as what, 21? Is that right? I believe.
Right around there.
And look how different Carolina looks defensively too. Wow.
Get another call on Ole Miss going the other way again, just completely discombobulated. Carolina bucket, 63-59, 4:54 to go.
So they scored.
Make that an 11-0 run. Carolina 3 of its last 3 on field goals, 11-0 on a run. Ole Miss scoring drought now 401 and running at the moment. Ole Miss has now not scored for more than almost 5 minutes of game action. 63-59 Rebels. Called a hand check foul on Carolina that frankly is a little bit of a gift right there. Bailed out Padula at the top of the key.
The Rebels need to get into the bonus as quickly as possible.
And Carolina only at 5 fouls. Yeah, it feels like they're in a spot where they're okay if they could just get anything kind of right here.
Well, ISOing Breakfield doesn't seem ideal.
Padula has been fairly sloppy since early on when we really bragged on him for protecting the basketball.
And Carolina is so small right now. It's interesting that Dia's not in, and they're not even trying that. I guess he doesn't really trust him.
I mean, now 11:09 scoring drought now nearing 6 minutes right now.
That's a Kermit Davis size scoring drought.
Yeah, almost at 6 currently. Ole Miss gets it back. We're probably going to be under 3 here in a second.
Need a bucket here. Oh.
Ole Miss finally breaks its drought. 2:56 to go. Padula hits a layup. 65-59.
You went from 19 seconds ahead of me to like 30 seconds ahead of me.
Dude, Siski, he's ahead of me too. He said Ole Miss gets it back as soon as they turn it over in the backcourt there. I was like, wait a minute, what the hell is going on?
I thought he was talking about the defense.
North Carolina's timeout. 2:49 to go. Ole Miss by 6.
Can you like cut your Wi-Fi? What's up with that? This is a buzzkill.
I'll hold. We'll all play together for a minute. It's fine. Carolina got it across the stripe.
Like, I'll tell you where, like, literally, just call timeout. I'm so far behind. Because when you said they got it back, I saw them get a rebound.
You thought the other way. Yeah.
I was like,
yeah, as soon as you said they got it back, they had that horrible turnover in the backcourt. I was like, is these glasses malfunctioned? Is the camera on?
You can see the damn future with the damn specs you got on.
I think that's what's happening here.
What do you think, Chase? You think we need to go heater tonight or what? Space heater?
That's a good question. You think so? You think we're at that point?
I'm just tired of being cold, man.
I mean, I'm kind of with you even in baseball in general. I mean, Swayze's freezing, and I'm still feel like got that situation.
Brother, you're
like
inside.
6th inning, I'm cold. No, dude, it is cold as hell up there. I don't know what it is, if it's the windows or what. I freeze my tail off up there.
Well, I'll tell you what, the next time I'm at a game and it's cold, we'll swap.
You think you'll be better off in the
Yeah,
booth?
I'll take my chance.
Okay.
I got
Stay
to
cold though. Hell, I'm cold right here, right now.
In my Christmas stocking from my mother, shout out to my mom for still packing a stocking at 29 and a half years old. I got some electric hand warmers. Those things are the greatest thing since sliced bread. Those things are awesome. Have you seen these?
So
So
what
they're
are they?
battery chargeable hand warmers, and it looks like a mini mouse pad, and you stick them like wherever you put hand warmers, and they're dynamite. It's a game changer. I've used them at a baseball game this year. Got to check them out. They're not very expensive either.
I mean, I think the bigger part of the story is I need to be sending my stocking to your house.
Yes, you do. Just send it to Ridgeville, Mississippi. My mom will fill up your stocking.
I'm just saying, you know, I mean, my stocking, I get switches and coal. You know what I mean? I don't get anything in mine.
So I'm the oldest. It's very hard for my mom to let go. I even mentioned that this year. I was like, well, Mom, I'm 29. I have a mortgage. I do have a job for a while. And she was like, you still get a stocking. I was like, all right, cool, whatever. Just keep the tradition going. All right, 6 points, 3 minutes left. They'll pull this out, don't you think?
Is this your first time, Rippy? Like, I don't know.
Yes. Asking loaded questions. That's what I do. I like to start the pot a little bit.
See, you set Chase up because if Chase says, "Oh yeah," and they lose, and everybody's going to blame Chase.
No, I'm not about to take that run.
I'll take
he saw it 2 minutes prior with those damn stacks.
If you're, as long as you're above the points and minutes, you're going to win the game. That's kind of my theory.
Well, I mean, that means you could be up 2 with 1 minute to go, Siski.
You usually win those games.
Well, you think about this possession. If they miss here, well, they didn't. They'd have been down. All right, they better have something awesome called here offensively. And they don't.
I'm so far behind. They're just now, Padilla's just now crossing half court.
I backed it up for you guys,
Wow.
and Brakefield had it on the back elbow right there.
Boy, this team.
It wasn't a bailout foul call because it was the right call, but good grief, it just the bunnies you missed right there. That
Oh, yeah, it's not a bad foul call. It's the basketball ending up in that person's hands on an offensive rebound. I mean, Ole Miss is living by the skin of its teeth right now. How about that stat line? 0 points, 4 fouls. That's the kind of shit I do.
So I had a new strategy there. Anytime Ole Miss gets the ball, just hit mute so I can't hear what I can't hear.
I mean, and missing the free throws. I mean, just complete collapse here a little bit for the Rebels. 156 now to go.
Complete collapse. They're up 5 with 2 minutes to go.
Considering what it was there, Chief.
But Chase said he doesn't care that you're behind.
It's basketball. It's March. You didn't expect an easy 20-point win, did you?
Well, when you're up 21, you don't really want to be up 4 minutes later after a 6-minute drought. I'm just saying that's not.
It's basketball, man. It's basketball. Happens all the time.
That's your analysis. Man.
What's that?
It's not the NBA.
Uh-oh.
And that's possession for Carolina.
Sorry, Siski. Gotta have a little confidence over here.
It's not lack of confidence. That's not the point.
A little swag, a little confidence. Minute 20 up 5. All right, let me ask you a question right now. They're 1.5 point underdogs. If I told you right now, hey, at a minute and 20, they're going to be up 5, would you take it?
Well, yeah, but that's not the situation. I mean, okay, but that's
Notice I just gave
And one.
I guess that was my point. I wasn't trying to ruin it for Siski. I said not. I didn't say and one. I just
Gotta close them out. Gotta close them out, Mark. Gotta close them out.
They can cut it to 2 here with 109 to go.
so
Carolina.
I'll obvious argument, but this upcoming possession is the most important of Ole Miss's season. You get a bucket there, you get it to 2 possessions, you're under a minute. If not, hold on to your butts.
You need a bucket or a stop in the next 2 possessions because you got 2 for 1 here, and then you're gonna be shooting free throws.
Preferably both.
Yeah,
See,
well, I mean, but you're in 1-1 territory for Ole Miss. North Carolina's at 6.
Are they reviewing this?
No, I thought it was just the injured guy, wasn't it?
They're not reviewing the elbow Morrell?
That's what I thought. Good call, Siski. The announcers are definitely saying that. Yeah, yeah.
So what are we calling? I don't have volume on because I can't. What are they saying?
The crossover, he swiped his face and elbowed Morrell.
Oh.
Right.
So what? So help me, Siski. What would be the call here?
It's flagrant 1.
My volume is on low, but Gene Steratore, who I don't really understand why he's doing an NCAA tournament game because he officiated football, is saying he thought it was a basketball play. I've never seen a ton of basketball plays where you elbow a guy at eye level, but I could be wrong.
I mean,
I haven't seen a ton of those. Massive call though. Again, you're talking about 3-point.
It's the game and a call right here. I mean,
yeah, because you get even if North Carolina gets the free throw here, this is Morrell 2 free throws and the basketball, and like Ole Miss doesn't even have to rebound it.
You think his nose was bleeding, or he just wanted to get caught in his nose to show that he hurt it?
It's like 50-50, isn't it?
Yeah, you got to have the cotton regardless. Even if they didn't even draw blood, you got to.
I 100% would be like, come on over here. We're going to put some cotton in your nose.
Yeah, I would have Sharpied stitches on his face. Like, see, we just split this guy open. We just sewed him back up here in the timeout.
What's he saying?
I don't know. I wish Cue Ball would say this with his chest. What is he saying here?
I'm looking at stat broadcast, and it looks like they're just sticking with the foul and not a flagrant.
Ooh, how is that? I don't know.
So that's also 4 on Dre Davis, by the way. Free throw good. Ole Miss 66-64, 109 to go.
So you're not ruining this with stat broadcast, not even the feed.
I mean, I'm not going to ruin it.
All right, I'm going to turn my mute on. Because I know y'all can't help yourself.
No, I'm not going to do that.
No, I won't do it to you because I know you want to be excited. Or pissed.
Going to be excited.
Or pissed.
Possession of the year coming down for the Rebels right here. Yeah, Rippy, I'm gonna let everybody else catch here.
I didn't say I'm
Padula for 3 buries it. 52 seconds to go. Rebs by 5 with 52 seconds left. Full timeout.
Heat check. Heat check. Heat check. Heat check.
That was my first thought because I'm a Big J journalist. Was what a fitting description of this year. Padula hitting a big shot for them.
That's fair. Ole Miss full timeout there, by the way. So they are out. That was Ole Miss's last timeout.
On that
North
possession,
Carolina
though,
has
Chase,
2 for if that matters.
I thought Brakefield was taking that shot off the screen. Did you not?
Yeah, it looked like he wasn't going to hand off there and pass back.
So what if I told you could be up 5 with 50 seconds to go? Would you take it?
That is not the point, though. You're moving the goal you're moving the goalpost. That's what you're doing right there. You're moving the goalpost.
I just like messing with
Specs.
It's fine. It's fine. It's improved audio is what it is.
They're nice looking glasses. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. It's just it's easy.
I am surprised that he took that shot with that much time left on the clock.
When you get the shot, you take it.
Well,
I
brother,
mean, that's what's got them in. That's what's got them in a mess, though. Is like when they've had stuff, they've tried to either run the clock or they've been disjointed. I mean, they had Murray out there taking that 28-footer from with 3.5 seconds left on the shot clock.
And to Chase's point, I really do think there was a point in late January, early February where Padula got more aggressive. And I don't know if his coaching staff induced, but like he is their only offense when things get stagnant. With Morrell's injury, there's just nothing left. I mean, think about Dia won 3 games for them. Have you seen him on the floor in the last 6 minutes? They don't trust him.
They're also nursing him a little bit just in case with the fouls.
Just in case of what? The apocalypse? Like you need to
well,
win this shit.
They've been doing a lot of. I mean, when they can do it, they've been doing a lot of offense defense switch.
Davin Barnes won't get a ton of credit, but that was a man-sized rebound.
Yeah, he has not had a day since that early goings, but that was quite the rebound there. They foul Padula. Trimble fouls him. 34 ticks to go. Ole Miss 69-64, and this will be a 1-1 for the Rebels.
Hit your free throws. Go home. Go back to the hotel.
Yeah, if I say hit your free throws, don't go home.
Yeah, go back to the hotel. Eat you some dull ass filet and dry potato. I bet they don't worry about the old food intake by the old basketball players. I imagine they burn enough calories to just eat whatever the hell they want.
Yeah, I think they're probably moving around all right where that's not a problem.
I bet you're not really worried about how many carbs. Carb loading them. I guess you do have to carb load them, but I bet you're not worried about eat all the ice cream you want there, Big Daddy. 2 best things about hotel food on a trip: the ice cream bar at dinner and breakfast in the morning. The old omelet station.
It's a miss.
Shit, when I worked in-house with the athletic department, they used to stay at Embassy Suites just because they had a happy hour on Fridays at 5, and they wore that shit out. Myself
yeah,
included.
they get the hour or two that's free right there on the stuff. That's the way to go.
Oh yeah, they're slinging them.
Another huge rebound here.
They're gonna let it run out in a second, huh?
I'm still behind now too. Yep. Morrell rebound. There you go.
Yeah, big rebound there. That fouled out Lubin right there for whatever that matters at this point. That was his 5th. He fouled out with 14 points.
All right, Chase. I'm heading to Olive Branch, Mississippi. I will catch you. I'll be listening to you guys. Finish it up.
Appreciate it, bud.
Siski,
as always.
good luck tonight.
Hey, I will. Hey, look, I'll make sure I peek up. You know, I'll peek up and watch the track guy run at the
do
the
that. Yeah, let me know. Let me know what you get at the concession stand.
Oh yeah, we'll. I got to figure out how I'm gonna do that too. My camera lady's not with me, so I got to figure that out too. All right, appreciate you guys.
Yep, later, bud.
See you.
That was lame. I just waved to nobody.
Yeah, it's fine.
Massive win though. I know there's 14 seconds left. I guess I won't do that yet. Well,
I mean,
you're only a few years older than me. They played around a 32 game when I was a senior in high school. When's the last time this has happened? I mean, not literally, but you know what I mean? Like this is rare for Ole Miss.
Yeah, that's where I'm going. When you can watch it run out. Ole Miss 71-64. That's going to be your final. So let's go ahead and talk about it for a few minutes, and then we'll get out here. Watch party. Ole Miss, huge win. Gut check for Ole Miss. They lead by 21 there. They don't score for over 5 minutes at one point. North Carolina cuts it to a 1-possession game. and they really sort of dominate, play good basketball, get rebounds, hit enough free throws down the stretch. The huge three by Padula, it saved the regular season in a way to make them and allow them to get that 6th seed. And now it has also led the way to an NCAA tournament win, and not just an NCAA tournament win, but one against the North Carolina Tar Heels. Ole Miss will move on to a game on Sunday. They will face the Iowa State Cyclones. They will do that. We don't know a time. We will get a time when the end of all these games here tonight. Big Ben saying Dre Davis holding his wrist. We'll follow that. I don't know. I have no idea. Chris Beard, in his 2nd season as Ole Miss head coach, has won an NCAA tournament game in the opening round again. Chris Beard has never lost in the opening round of the NCAA tournament. He has won every single time in the opening round that he's been in it. And Ole Miss will move on to the round of 32. Their first main draw NCAA tournament win since Marshall Henderson and the Rebels knocked off Wisconsin in 2013. They beat BYU in that huge comeback in a play-in game in 2015. That was the last win in general in the NCAA tournament, but first one since 13. And look, Ole Miss doesn't have many of them. And you go back through here, and from an NCAA tournament win, you've got Villanova in 1999. You've got the Sweet 16 year in 2001, where they beat Iona and then beat Notre Dame to get to the Sweet 16. And then after that, you're talking about nothing until Wisconsin and then BYU and now this one. So Ole Miss moves on. Chance for the Sweet 16. You said it a little while ago, Rippy, not just a chance, but you get Iowa State, you get a 3 seed, a good team out of the Big 12, but a team that's missing their second best scorer. They're hobbled a little bit. They're not perfect. Ole Miss gets a chance to regroup. You got to love you got to love Chris Beard in a quick turnaround because you've got one of the best coaches in the country. It's a big day for Ole Miss because there's a lot of portal guys watching. This is beating North Carolina, and while it's a situation where they were an 11 seed and they were in a play-in game, it's still North Carolina. It's still a North Carolina team with that across the chest, and with the SEC with such a microscope, with all that pub that North Carolina got in the opening game there in Dayton. It's a huge win because you're able to kind of reverse that now. It was a best case scenario because Carolina got all this publicity and all this stuff, and now Ole Miss getting the win. It almost kind of transfers a little bit as they head into this game against Iowa State.
Yeah, you're right. To me, it being North Carolina, I would say for Ole Miss fans is just the sprinkles on top of what is already a pretty rich Sunday. Yes, you beat a name brand, you beat a blue blood in a down year, but what's significant, I think, about today is one, Ole Miss getting there, and two, Beard doing what he does. He just wins March games. I believe, if I could have this wrong, it's either the 5th, I believe it's the 6th year that Chris Beard has been in the NCAA tournament. He's won the round of 64 game every single time.
That's what I said. He's never lost in the first round of the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, sorry, I'm not a great listener. This is what he does, but it goes back to something Bracken and I talked about, and I'm sure you and Neil have covered on y'all's show too, is this was a massive proof of concept year for the Ole Miss basketball program. They put in a lot of resources to their program, from the facility to the NIL budget to a top 15 assistant pool. And if in year 2 of Chris Beard had they fallen short of this, a lot of people, perception-wise, would have said, okay, well, if Chris Beard can't get it done at Ole Miss, then who can? And that would have been a case of perception, in my opinion, not meeting reality in terms of what this job actually is versus what people think it is. And the fact that they're here today and the fact that they made the round of 64 and just won this game and will be playing in the round of 32 for the second time in the last, 26 years is a massive accomplishment for this program. And I don't think it can be understated. It sounds like Chris Beard's going to be here next year. But even beyond him, however long, whether Chris Beard's here 10 years or one more year, this is a proof of concept season that raises the profile of your job and raises the profile of what people think about you and your basketball program in an SEC that's been as competitive as ever. This is a massive win for Ole Miss. I don't really know any other way to describe it.
It's massive in every way. No, it's huge, like you say, and it moves Ole Miss into a different situation from a status standpoint. And a chance on your racket on Sunday to really push it. I mean, you're 1 win away from the Sweet 16. That's a monumental situation. coming up for the Rebels on Sunday in a game where he had them so ready to play. You had Carolina had come out, they had bombed San Diego State, they had won a lot of games in a row outside of the Duke losses. And in the first few minutes, Ole Miss just absolutely took it to them. They were the more aggressive team. They were the more prepared team. They were the better coach team, and they finished the game 44% from the field, 40% from three. They were only 65% from the line, but it did not hurt them. Ole Miss committed 14 turnovers. Got to clean that up. That wasn't very crisp. North Carolina with 9 turnovers. Rebounds, Rippy, Ole Miss did win 40-34 in total rebounds over North Carolina, a stat that is awesome for the Rebels moving forward. Bench points, 18-13 to Carolina. Points in the paint, 32-24 to Carolina. But it did not matter. Ole Miss gets the win, 71-64. Padula finishes with 20 points after only being 1 of 2 shooting there for the majority of the first half. He's 7 of 14 from the field, 2 of 4 from 3, including the big one there at the end of the game. 4 or 5 from the line. Jalen Murray, 7. Morrell, 8. So happy for him in Brakefield, especially Matt, who's been here the entire time. Dre Davis with 15. Brakefield with 12. Barnes with 1. Klafke played, did not score, but did bring some energy and do some good things there. Yeah, it was 66-64 when Padula hit the shot. 52.8 seconds left there at that point. That was absolutely the play of the game. Austin Super Chat, thank you. Says, Carl, you got to be the biggest basketball win up to now. You just beat arguably the basketball school. When you look at who Ole Miss has beaten in this play tournament, yeah, it's number one. I don't care how good they are, how good they're not. It's UNC on the front. It's the powder blue or Carolina blue, if you will. And it's a huge win. So guys, enjoy this thing. Go get some drinks, get some food. Go to the Twitter, the social media, the TV. You're going to be in the highlights. You're going to be talked about all weekend until you play again on Sunday. This is what is neat about March Madness and you having a good quality basketball program. It's these moments. You get to sit by. You're already in the next round. Watch the games tonight. Hang out, cheer with no pressure. Nothing coming up except a round of 32 game in Milwaukee against the Cyclones on Sunday. So enjoy it. What Chris Beard has done for this program in 2 years, fairly remarkable there. He is one of the top coaches in the country, and Ole Miss plays on. They helped the SEC, they helped themselves, and they got to win there again. Ole Miss 71-64, and that will do it here for the MPW Digital Watch Party. Brian Rippey on with me the entire time. Appreciate Tyler Siskey for his time before he was headed to DeSoto County, and Bracken Ray stopping in for some halftime analysis as well. So look, plenty of coverage, rebelgrove.com. You get Neil's tons of content. He's there in Milwaukee. We'll transition. Ole Miss baseball plays in 30 minutes. We'll follow that along, see how the Rebels do against the Tigers. And the women's basketball is going on right now as well. 10-9 Ball State early against Yo and the women team there in Waco. Find out tip time late tonight. Yeah, all the games have to end, and they'll give you a tip time for Sunday. So, again, one last time, appreciate all of you. Made it a cool afternoon. Ole Miss 71s, North Carolina 64 from Milwaukee. Take care, and we will talk to you again very soon.